Brady, what have you been doing lately?
I've been researching 24/7.
You have?
Yeah.
I've been writing a lot.
Yeah, you've been sending me some good articles.
It is that time of year.
It is that time of year. Yeah, trying to get caught up, do a lot of writing. I did one for you the other day about unit profiles in the app, which we talked a little bit about last week.
But it is live now.
Totally live.
It is.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I've been on it constantly.
Have you? This morning?
Well, you and I have been talking about a very special antelope hunt.
That's right.
You and I want to do.
Try to do an antelope hunt next year.
And I've been digging in on these unit profiles in here. And I think we're good, is what it looks like.
I think we're good too.
Odds, wides, and going through unit profile. It looks like we're good.
We're going to be real good next year.
Like guaranteed.
We're already planning for 2025.
I mean, that's what we do though, right? That's why it's bad for me to have it in the phone. I'm always on my phone like everybody.
Legit, people can't see, but he is actually on the unit profiles right now.
Yeah.
I'm just scrolling through the unit profile right now.
And that's the beauty. That's why I said I've been researching 24/7. Like we add this feature and I've been checking it out on my phone constantly because we have unit profiles in the app. And so once you go through all the filtering, you can now tap into the unit to learn more about the unit. Everything there is to know about it. And then you got draw odds tables down below so I can see my chance of drawing tags, all that data, how many, the tag allocations, what the quota is, how many people I'm competing with.
Yeah.
Determine hunting pressure. Like it's pretty sick to be able to do it on my phone.
Yeah, the task that you gave me was to write an article on how I use unit profiles for over-the-counter elk hunting opportunities.
Yep.
Which as I thought about, I was like, how do I approach this? How do I talk about it? I started digging into like, how do I use unit profiles? And then I was doing the same thing, kind of laying in bed, cruising unit profiles and looking through, using the app, which is handy. It's way easier to get to.
It's wildly handy.
Wildly handy.
So much so that my wife hates it. That's how handy it is.
You're going to have to start plugging your phone in the kitchen at night.
Yeah.
She'd be like, leave that. But things like historical harvest success, 5 years of harvest success. Those are kind of what I gravitate to initially. And then my other thoughts was like looking at hunter survey.
Hunter survey is a big one in that state that I'm sure you're looking at.
Yeah, and then
that one state and one place.
That one place, yeah.
And then the comment section at the bottom.
Yeah, comment section is huge for people who want to talk and have questions back and forth, which is not me. That's great for people who are out there.
You don't want to talk and ask people questions?
Brady's in there giving everyone secrets. Don't lie.
I have a burner account probably.
You have an alias?
In
probably.
There. It's that, yeah.
I have a legitimate alias.
You do?
Yeah, that I sign up for other things for. I obviously can't tell you on air because everyone would know.
So then I'd have to kill you.
Because then I would have to do something to you. But you would love my alias name.
Oh, that's great.
Well, I can't tell you. I just said that.
You.
I'll tell Brady offline, but I obviously can't say it out there because then people would know.
Sure. Comment sections are great though.
It is.
Yeah, I cruise down through there and read them all. Some of them are entertaining. Some of them are packed with good intel.
Yeah, and guys willing to help. Like
phone numbers, email addresses, reach out.
So especially some of those tags that are like coveted, harder to draw, those dream hunts per se. Like there's more people out there that are willing to share info because they're never going to touch that tag again. Like let's face it, they won't. Or the state sets it up so it's basically once in a lifetime.
Right.
So people are more willing to give information, which is cool, and that's why the comment section is nice.
In Mexico, anytime somebody calls me about that, I drew that tag in 2013 or something. Dude, I love giving people every single piece of just because then I get to live it through them. I'll never have that tag again, so I get to live it through them.
Yeah, and it's way better than jumping on I'm going to throw this with quotes, a silly hunting forums because you know how those go. Like the first user jumps on, never made a post before, asks about this unit, and he gets roasted for 17 comments about
talking about. There's so much positivity.
You got to dig deep. You got to keep reading.
So
pick up those gems.
On this, since it's behind a paywall and you're all members and it's like an exclusive thing, I think people feel more apt to actually give good information and help other people, which is cool. Which is why I like profile comments a million times more than I like jumping on a hunting forum because that's bogus information.
Yeah,
everyone tries to stray everyone around. Where the unit profile comments are not giving away all these special secrets, but they're helping people who want the help and are willing to, talk back and forth to each other.
Yeah.
And that's cool to see.
A lot of those unit profiles too. Like if you go through, I I guess I'm somewhat jaded because I live out west and I've hunted for a really long time. So like a lot of those I skip through. So like vegetation descriptions, terrain descriptions, access information. A lot of that I skip over. But when I was working on the article, I was going back through all the various unit profiles and just kind of looking to see. There's a lot of good information in it. Actually, there's like major roads. They're identified.
I do a lot of access. I pay attention to a lot of access on that. Like, what's the best ways to access where I want to get to? And try to find a gym in that, and I usually do. Yeah,
major roads are identified. Same with vegetation. One of them I was looking at the other day was like. Kind of gives the elevation profile for the unit. Also gives your public land percentage, which can be handy. And you can cross-reference that back with maps. But I was looking at it and I thought, that's interesting. So you've got portions of the unit that are high alpine, aspen, pine country. And then you do have a portion of the unit that's more low pinyon juniper country. And a lot of units might be like that. But in regards to like specifically archery elk hunting, I'm thinking like, what kind of habitat do I want to hunt? Because there's probably elk in both.
Yeah, and what are you proficient at too?
Yeah,
like trying to find a unit that matches the terrain that you love to hunt.
Yeah,
like
and
you love to glass, you can find those open, hillsides, or maybe you like the thick jungle.
Yeah, and there's descriptions within that of like what parts of the unit are that type of vegetation, which is good. And then some of the actual like the little sections that are right above, like your bold cow ratios, those ones right there. A lot of them have pretty good intel.
Do you utilize those the moon phase?
I don't.
Thing? You can like crank that all the way over to like September. And
I don't.
I definitely look at it just so I know what I'm getting into, but it doesn't affect.
Yeah, because it's like the conversation we had on the Mythbusters episode that like you got to hunt when you got to hunt.
Chris Porter at the door.
Chris Porter's jumping in on
I told him I didn't want my food to be late. It's him and I always order food together because he likes to think he does macros until the weekend, and I tell him it doesn't work like that. You literally have to do it all the time.
You have to do it every day.
But he just refuses to believe that.
Part-time macros monitor.
He'll do what I do Monday through Friday. And I said, so he'll ask me like, hey, what do you want? So he'll just order the same thing. I said, yeah, but I don't want it to be late because the podcast goes late.
Dang.
So now I won't be able to eat till after this, but no big deal. I'm here for you boys.
Just have to gut it out. Anyway, look for unit profiles in your app now. It's super easy. All you got to do is click on the app on your phone, and it's going to open up right in the bottom center. There's a research button. You just hit that, and you have the ability to look
and
at.
You just start scrolling through all the units.
Filtering, unit profiles, all of it.
Click right
it's
there.
like upper right button, and once you're in the filtering thing, click over to the unit profile.
Yeah, and I am definitely in 2025 already.
That's funny.
I mean, all my stuff came out for 2024. I know what I'm doing now in 2024.
So now you're looking.
So I know where I got another point. I know where I held off. I know. So I'm already thinking 2025. So we have two. So we just had our entire team down here in Vegas. So from all over. So guys from New York, guys from Texas, guys from up north, everywhere. Everyone was here. And we had two people. We were going through our product and kind of like the downfalls of it, right? Because how can you ever get better if you only just pay attention to the good stuff? So anyways, we were talking about the downside of it. And their biggest feedback to us was, granted, they're not as big as hunters as us, which is understandable. There's not a ton of those. But they said it's like doing homework to go through our product and our unit profiles and our draw odds and all that stuff. Do you feel that way ever?
I mean, homework that I like to do.
Yeah, that's all.
I don't look at it like homework at all.
Me either.
No.
When they were explaining that, I was really trying to understand.
So they feel it as work.
I was trying to understand their perspective. And it's like, look, I know there's a lot, right? But I genuinely love getting in there and finding the hunts. So if you enjoy it, is it homework?
No.
Or if you enjoy it, is it research? You know what I mean? Like if you're reading an article you really want to read, like I read Huberman stuff all the time. Am I doing homework or am I researching? No, I'm reading. I'm leisurely learning and reading, right? So
no, I don't see it as homework at all. It's definitely not like a evolutionary biology exam I'm prepping for.
I wonder if there's more people out there that feel like our product is too like homeworky or too research based.
Well, that goes into the word that we always try to figure out for something better for it. The word research.
Yeah, no.
Hunting research. Like instantly when people think hunting research, they think that's work, because I think it as something fun. Like I have to research something to learn more about it. And if I want to research,
who doesn't like research? I like research.
Yeah.
I mean, too.
Like
I mean, if you don't want to research something that you're not interested in, but if you were researching something you're interested in, it's
and you
fantastic.
know there's something at the end of the tunnel
you can
that
call
you're
whatever
getting
the hell,
from it.
You can call it whatever the hell you want to call it, but I mean, call it research. Research is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with the word research.
But like,
I'd
I
like
don't
to know if there's more people out there that feel that way, because they were pretty adamant about it.
Like it's like
give us some
homework
feedback.
that's like not enjoyable.
I don't know. I was trying to understand. I'm like, but how is it homework when you
like it?
This is what you're trying to do.
And there's been homework in my life that I've loved to do because I'm passionate about it.
Yeah.
Like when I was doing biology stuff, I love doing that side of homework because it's.
Omar's laughing over there. He's never had
He's
anything he wanted to research for fun.
No, he's
I was
never.
never excited about homework.
You were never excited about homework. Are you excited about finding new hunts?
Oh, 100%.
Yes, you said yes. You still don't have a microphone, by the way, so you're
Yeah,
continuing.
you really
to
can't talk over there because the
jack that
audience
one
cannot
up.
hear you.
And we've had multiple comments saying, "Why won't you get yourself a microphone?"
Try
And we've
to
told
lay off
you how many
watching
times now?
YouTube this time, will you?
There's that other one down there.
So anyways, yeah, like it's like it wasn't a very good comparison, but it's like if you really want a clean house and you never clean your house, like you're not gonna have a clean
You
house.
just like a dirty house.
Yeah, it's just not gonna happen. So if you really want to go hunting, but you're not researching the opportunities, like then you're just
You don't really want to
just
go
not
hunt.
really going hunting, I guess. I don't know. It was.
Were they trying to say they want to make it like more user friendly?
Well, we were talking about unit profiles in the app, and just talking about things that unlocks for us and like why it's better and all this stuff. And we were asking everybody their opinion about like where do you see value in it? Because we want to be able to talk about it in a lot of different ways, right? To maybe some people connect differently than others about why it's important to have the unit profiles in the app. And their whole thing was, I don't know if I genuinely would use it because like I just feel like I'm doing so much homework.
How old are these people?
Yeah,
They're older.
This sounds to me like somebody that just wants to be spoon fed absolutely everything.
Yeah, like
I agree.
It's like, oh, I want to hunt this unit in Colorado. What do I do? Just click on the map and it drops points for me. And I'm like, it just like spits it out. Like you buy your tag at this address. This is the cost. And it just drops points.
It'd be great if it worked out like that.
I mean, it might be.
I think it relates a lot to like articles and
I don't know,
how
man.
I see people, how they consume things. Like a longer article, I love long form articles. Like if you give me a 3,500 word article, 4,000 word article, that's giant headers everywhere, good images, good text. I want to read that because I know I'm going to learn something. Where I bet if they're pulling up hunting research and they see like, oh, the unit profile is going to scroll forever. It's a lot of work to read all that information, to dissect it all. It feels like work. But because like Trails is saying, maybe they're this TikTok, Instagram reel generation where all they want to do is see the short
older,
synopsis and they want it quicker. Where like I'd rather have more data because that more data is going to, I'm getting something out of it when it's long and I have to research it and think about it and process it. And
that's how I feel, and that's how I felt when we were talking through it. But I also have to, I can't just like dig into my hole and think it's the only way to think about it. You know what I mean?
It's
so
true.
I was like really trying to understand about how we could talk about it differently or what we could make sense or I don't know.
Well, and everybody
Just kinda
approaches
hearing
hunting
them out.
differently. Like everybody has different methodology, different areas they like to hunt, different strengths, weaknesses.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm writing another article for Brady on backpack hunting. Is it worth it for elk? And I'm like going through it, thinking about it. I'm like, is it worth it? I don't know if it's worth it to everybody. For me, it's worth it.
for you, it's worth it. Yeah. Some
It's
other people,
worth it because it's the style of hunting I like. And then part of that article I was thinking about, why do I like it so much? I think part of the reason I like it is because whether I'm successful or not, I get an experience out of it that I crave, which is being disconnected completely from everything for 10 days. Whereas I don't have the same feeling if I go back and forth between my truck. I just don't. It feels like you're tethered to everything.
and other people, that could be everything for them to have a wall tent right next to a pickup truck.
Sure, yeah.
All their buddies, they don't really care how the hunt goes.
That's a
They-
good point. That's a
looking
good way
for
to
an
think about it.
experience.
Yeah.
To me, it's like if I go back there, I live off my back. If I don't kill one, great. I had a great experience. I had an
But you hunt how
experience
you
that I'm
wanted to
happy
hunt.
with. That I could, like reset my system. So everybody's a little bit different. So it would be hard to like cater everything to everyone.
Yeah. It was an interesting perspective.
It really is.
I was trying to understand it. So I wanted to bring it up here.
It's never work if it's something you enjoy.
That's how I felt.
It's never.
I love burning time thinking about, like I said, you and I have been talking about next year already.
Well,
I've been digging through the unit profiles to see the neighboring ones. Are we guaranteed? Like I'm just going through, doing my thing for next year already.
I mean, the thing that keeps running through my mind, the thing that keeps you going year in and year out is the word hope.
Yeah.
Hope for a tag. Hope
opportunity.
for an animal that you've dreamed about, hope for, and experience that works out the way it's supposed to. It's like that hope keeps you going.
Yeah.
Like that hope's what keeps you researching, which the word research doesn't bug me at all if you like doing it. I think,
Yeah.
I mean, Huberman, I guarantee he doesn't dislike the word research because he's researching shit that he's interested in, right?
Yeah. I just say I'm finding hunts. Like I don't even really call it research.
Yeah.
Like my wife asked me what I'm doing on my phone for 3 straight hours. I'm like, I'm trying to find some hunts.
It's just
What's
like everything
the
in
best one? I got points. I don't have points in
Yeah.
states, but just trying to find some hunts.
Yeah. Interesting. Good,
Yeah.
good food for thought. We'll see what comes up out of that.
Because the unit profiles are dense. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? They're deep, like you said. And so he viewed it as homework.
The only way I could see that, maybe, interesting. Maybe you could shorten the curve for folks that maybe don't have a bunch of years of experience. So if they have 5 years of harvest data, maybe there's some sort of way to interpret what that potentially means for someone.
Yeah.
Or, hunter surveyed. Like if you're comparing hunter survey between 2 different units, but you've never really hunted a unit or really at all out west.
You don't know what that data
You don't
point
know what
means.
that feels like when you're on the landscape. Maybe there's a means to like giving people some sort of objective way to like, I understand what that means now when I look at it.
Yeah.
That might be
That's a good
interesting.
idea. That actually is a pretty good idea.
Yeah. I don't know. You should invite me to these techie meetings. Maybe not. Probably not.
We should.
Probably not. Anyways, yeah, unit profiles. We got on a tangent there. We'll get going to the main podcast, but hit promo. You got to hit promo. So you use the promo code podcast. You can sign up for an insider account. There's still a lot of opportunity to get a permit. Plus, we're moving into research and mapping season. You're going to need a mapping app to navigate and find success. So if you buy an insider membership, the mapping portion of that is part of it as well as everything else. It's hands down the best value in my opinion. It's
crazy how much stuff is involved.
I mean, it's
into a
$150.
membership.
You get points back in the gear shop. You get maps. You get draw odds. You get filtering. You get app strategy articles. Like there's a ton of stuff for $150. So sign up. Use the promo code podcast. We're going to give you $50 back into the Go Hunt gear shop. You can use towards the purchase of any gear that you want in the shop. So use the promo code podcast. We're still making a big push. Use the promo code podcast.
Podcast. That's the best promo
Use
code.
it. It's the best promo code out there.
It is.
Use it or lose it.
Use it.
Yeah. So you better use it.
That's it. And then Sig Optics. Wanted to say shout out to Sig. Sponsor the podcast. Make killer stuff.
Killer stuff.
Killer stuff. I've been out looking at antelope.
So
I can drive down the highway.
I found my brother's Utah buck last year as we were driving on the highway at 60 miles an hour.
Yeah.
my dad bought a pair, and I brought it back instead of just shipping it to him over 4th of July. He bought the 16s. And, of course, Minnesota people like to gather around crock pots and different things. So we had a little festivity at
Some
my
Velveeta
parents'.
cheese.
Yeah, a little festivity at my parents' house. And my dad's like, go get those binos. You got to show all the hunting friends,
Oh, yeah. It's one of those
So
geeky things that you can show somebody to like bend their minds.
Yeah, so I brought them downstairs. They were sitting out by the lake, and they started pulling those out, and they're like, "Really? Like, look how goofy they are." And then they put them up their eyes, and they're just like, "Oh wow! Like, what have I been missing my whole entire life?" Like, they were all blown away, and everyone's just like trying to steal it and look through them, and like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
game
One of
changer.
those, it's one of those things where you do hand it off to somebody and they look through it. It's like immediately, okay.
I get it.
where
It's
are-
it's such a
where
cool
are they?
experience that you almost want to record it because like it's life changing. Like
Yeah.
looking through normal binos and then throwing stabilize up. Like, all right, wow,
Yeah.
I'm never gonna use another pair of binos.
I've been setting the cruise control at like 10
That's dangerous.
and then just putting the old knees on the steering wheel and just out the passenger side as I'm cruising, looking into my unit. Just got the old binos, the stabilizers,
That's-
just cruising for antelope.
I don't condone that. That sounds fairly
I mean,
dangerous.
it's long straight stretch, you know.
And then
I was in the passenger side. My
If I could
brother
just-
was driving.
and
Yeah.
the ditch is really wide if you did go into it and gradual.
I'm not straight. I got the knees going. As long as I look like every minute and a half, I'm good. But yeah,
I would love to watch this. We need to video this.
I'm just saying, I've seen a few antelope that way that I wouldn't have seen otherwise. So anyway,
It's
yeah,
pretty impressive.
shout out to SIG. We appreciate those guys as sponsor of the podcast. So with that, we'll jump into the main topic. We people have been asking for Q&A episodes because people they get a lot of questions.
Our last Q&A one did pretty good.
Did really well. Yep. I've been getting a ton of DMs. Seems like it must be hunting season approaching because
Yeah.
I can feel it.
Yeah, the DMs are stacking up.
Yeah, stacking up.
And they're always really long and good questions too.
Yep. Yep. So we thought we'd do a Q&A episode. So with that, we're just going to jump in, get going. Omar, do you have anything else to add? You got all your YouTube watching out of the way? Not have any.
He's probably going to click some button here in a little bit and play a video. Yeah.
Yeah, I probably will.
Oh, I got something to say.
Oh boy.
Did you guys notice my goatee?
No.
I do not notice your goatee.
Omar has a goatee.
Yes.
Do not notice your goatee.
I don't see it.
It's there.
Look how proud he is of it, and you can't even see it.
What we're talking about, Lorenzo, is last time we were doing a podcast, we have 2 guests on. You know, we got Robin and Calvin Ferguson. We're just right in the middle of it, and all of a sudden, just loud as can be, Omar's over there watching YouTube.
Yeah.
Were you really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
He was.
He
I was
was.
on Instagram, which is my job.
No.
Oh, so he's trying to blame his job for being on Instagram full volume.
Yep.
There's probably some
You
chick
believe
working
that?
out or something too.
Unbelievable.
Young kids these days, their attention span.
Millennials.
Yeah.
Anyway. You guys ready for the first question?
Yes.
Are we
Okay.
gonna? You can throw some soft ones first, or go right hard?
I mean,
Hard in the paint.
nah, we'll ease into it. I thought this one was kind of interesting. I think I get this one a lot, so I thought it'd be good to talk about. But it says, how did each of you get into the hunting industry for work? And I would add to that, good decision, bad decision. How you feel about it? Being in the industry, the quote unquote the industry.
The industry.
Brady, what do you got?
Not the typical Las Vegas industry.
That's right.
Not in that.
Not the entertainment industry.
Mine's really long. Do you want to get into it? Like the long? Should I shorten it up as quick as I can?
I mean, give us the Cliff Notes version if you want.
Cliff
Up to you, your world, Brady. We live in it.
Brady Miller's
Here for the
world.
people.
I mean, when you're wearing shorts like that
We're
today,
just visiting.
we should get Brady on camera
We
before
should.
with this
We
ends.
should.
Brady has yellow
Tiger
shorts.
Tiger style.
shorts. They got tigers on them,
Yeah, for my running shorts.
and they're quite a bit shorter than what you normally have been rocking.
Yeah, I'm
So-
comfortable.
He was feeling himself.
I do
today.
like them. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, the quads need to breathe.
Is that what that is?
Yeah. All right. So hunting industry and how we got into it. Well, mine goes back in the day quite a bit. I was okay, I won't go that far back.
Settle in, folks.
Settle in for a long answer.
I was born a baby.
Yeah. So before this, I was doing fisheries research work up in Montana, and I always wanted to be in the hunting industry. I always loved hunting.
You wanted to be in this industry?
Oh yeah, since
That was the plan?
my whole life. Yeah.
Okay.
Just like I love helping people mainly. So like going on all these backcountry adventures, I started picking up a camera, started teaching myself how to take photos. I always loved to write, hence being a biologist. I love, science writing and all that stuff. So while I was out camping and backpacking for work all the time, I would write articles in my sleeping bag, literally in my tent, on write in the rain paper. Just like think of some article ideas, start jotting them down. Later I get back home on the weekends and then transcribe that into my computer and pitch it to different outdoor publications.
That was kind of the jam back in the day, huh?
Yeah, because there really wasn't, social media wasn't a thing. Like I had to pitch it out there. So I started getting published in some like magazines a little bit. There was some online magazines, if you will, that was starting to get published, making barely any money doing it, but I just loved doing it. And started learning how to take photos and upgrading cameras all the time. And then I started like doing some more story things. And then one of my photos, I entered to win a photo contest. And I won a photo contest through KUYU. That was an all expense paid hunt to Mexico to hunt with Jason Hairston. And brought my bow down there after winning that photo contest. Everyone made fun of me because that was when I was a bow hunter. Like, well, you're bringing a bow on a gunfight. Like, you're not going to kill coos with the bow. Jay Scott even told me I won't kill coos with the bow. And I killed the 17th biggest coos deer in the world, which probably helped land where I'm at right now, killing a giant deer. Like, that's pretty cool. Did not know what the coos deer was at the time. Didn't know it was very big. Everyone was freaking out about it. But like, shot a giant coos deer. There was 119 and 2/8.
Gotcha.
Giant. With my bow, 30 yards. And then Jason kept asking me if I was ever interested in the hunting industry. I was like, yes, I definitely am. He's like, well, we need video person. I'm like, well, I'm not a video guy. I'm a photo guy. He's like, well, if I keep things in mind, I'll let you know. Lorenzo supposedly had been following me for a while on Instagram. Did not know who he was, but that was when Instagram kind of started. And I believe you and Jason, you knew Jason, maybe somehow got my name or somehow saw my stuff that I was doing. I think you still said you have like a screenshot somewhere.
I still have my notes on you.
Yeah. So he was scouting me out.
Yeah, the folder.
So he was scouting me
I
out.
was
I
scouting.
hope so.
So
I really do. I have my notes on it.
So it was like little small things just started stacking on top of each other to add up. Like, it's always like, putting yourself out there, doing things I probably shouldn't have. Probably burned some, relationships back in the day because I was just psycho about trying to do what I want to do now. Like I love to write. I love to help people. Obviously winning a photo contest helped, but like all those little steps put me out there and like, learning how to take photos when that was kind of a big need back in the day in the hunting industry is like trying to carve my own niche.
Gotcha.
And then, I got a random phone call once when I was skiing and started briefing me about potentially what GOHUNT was going to be and did a job interview on the freaking mountain. And then somehow ended up here.
And when he said he was willing to move to Las Vegas, me and Chris looked at each other like, holy shit, he said yes. He said yes.
We did it. I think the heart of the question is like maybe for people that are looking to get into the industry for work, like what piece of advice would you give them? Well, I mean, you're the founder, the owner of the business. You obviously, you hire people. You hired both of us. You probably regretting hiring our Omar over there, but there's still a chance.
Every day.
But like, what piece of advice would you give for somebody that's like looking to
putting yourself out there, creating that network, putting yourself out there through social media, through everything. I mean, there is a level of self-marketing with it, right? I mean, don't be that douchebag out there that's like screaming from a microphone how great you are. But if you put yourself out there authentically and you're doing something different, it's gonna be noticed. Because not just us, but a lot of other companies and people in the industry, so to say, they're all looking for something new, something a little bit different, a new personality or a new way of, somebody who's talking about something differently or new, or you know what I mean? So just putting yourself out there and creating those networks. Right, like Brady's tail end of his story obviously is the tail end of my story when we were connected and I had my notes on him, and it was all through content. We knew we were going to do content. It was part of the business plan. So I was really looking for somebody who could manage the type of content we were looking for, right? So back in those days, I know it sounds crazy to say back in those days, but hunting has come so far in the last 10, 15 years, right? So 15 years ago, that was still, even a company like Under Armour, their tagline in hunting was always lethal with blood splatter across a magazine page, right? It was like very aggressive. Everything was so aggressive back then, which is I'm fine with, right? Like that is what we're out there to do, is kill an animal. And I don't shy away from that. Like that is literally what we're trying to do. But there's so much more to hunting. I always looked at hunting and the hunting adventure more so like the old school surf films. Like, I don't know if you guys ever watched Endless Summer 2 with Dan and Wingnut, or Dave and Wingnut, whatever. I haven't watched in a long time, but in those old school Red Bull surf videos, all that stuff where it was about the adventure, like the traveling to the new country and, the locals that they were with and the hunting or the surfing and why it was different there as opposed to somewhere they had been previously. But, the connections of surfing and surfers kind of always being the thread of DNA that was pulled through everywhere they went. And so we wanted to go about content a different way. And Brady was doing it a very different way. He was documenting the full adventure and like the beauty of the full adventure, not just the blood trail across the desert after.
I do love a good blood trail though.
It is awesome.
Part of the puzzle for sure.
It is part of the puzzle for sure. But man, there's just so much more that I'm drawn to with hunting than, I mean, obviously I'm there to do that, but there's so much more I enjoy in hunting than just that, right?
Yeah.
But for me, I know that was a long way of even just saying the back end of my story, so I'll make the front end short. But
There's
for me,
a lot in there though.
Yeah. So look, my personality is what got me into the hunting industry. I have a lot of respect for people who can do the sacrifice of work to fund their passion and lifestyle. Like I really do. My brother is a great example of that. He works his ass off, like more so than anyone I know. And he loves to hunt just as much as I do. And he only gets to do it as when he can because of his job, right? He's got a very high-end job in the casino industry. Not a lot of free time to go out there in the woods disconnected, right? Like he has the job where he has to be connected all the time. I've never been able to do that sacrifice, or like, the age old saying, fake it till you make it kind of a thing. If I'm not 100% connected to the work I'm doing, I'm going to be shit at my job. I'm not going to do good. And I have the other side of me too, is I'm a feeler. So I feel really bad for the people that I'm working with, because I know that I'm essentially taking advantage of them, right? Like, yeah, I'm here, but I'm just kind of like taking up space, and you guys are having to work harder because I'm not in this, right? I'm thinking about hunting.
They're not getting the best.
Not getting the best of me. And so I decided, like, my only option, I have to go do what I love. I don't know if it's outfitting. I don't know if it's working in the hunting industry somewhere, anything. I wrote an email to Jason Hairston in 2010. When I graduated college, I wrote an email to him. I still have that email as well. I've saved a bunch of this stuff over the years, like my notes, my scouting notes on Brady, and some other people as well who weren't willing to move to Las Vegas. But and then this email I sent to Jason Hairston, when he launched KUIU, he had a blog post called The Defiant Troublemaker, and he was talking about him being defiant and causing trouble within the industry. I'm like, man, that is how I think, like doing things different. I want to do hunting the way that the surf films have changed surfing. I want to change hunting through that lens. And so I reached out to him, essentially asking him for a job. Now that I go back and read it, it's pretty fucking embarrassing to go back and read it and see how dumb it is. I was essentially asking for a job. And so to my surprise, he emailed back. And there was a time there that I was going to move to Dixon, California and go work for him. And it was going to be in the backpack side of his business, on the Icon backpack side. And he ended up not building the company out with backpacks being its own thing. He kept it within KUIU. So it was always one of those things, like he told Brady, yeah, we'll see what's going on. But him and I stayed in touch, and we actually became very good friends. I would go out to Dixon and see him, and he was in Vegas quite a bit because he was always traveling through Vegas to go somewhere to meet with people or manufacturers or material guys or anything. And he would stop by every time he was in Vegas. And he is the one that essentially gave me the confidence of starting something of my own in the industry, because him and I would just talk about it. And I would talk about the openings that I saw. He would talk about the openings that he saw, and ended up just developing a business plan with Chris Porter. Him and I worked at the previous company together, and we built a business plan, and we were like, holy shit, I think there really is something here. But Jason's the one that gave me the confidence to like take that step and go for it. He was the one that told me, if you really are that passionate about it, it's going to work out. Like, I don't know how it's going to work out, but it will, right? Just like it did for him. And so that's how it started. And then, and then we started hiring guys like Brady, guys like Trail. You were already in the industry, and we reached out to you for help on like some
unit
of
profiles.
Our show seasons,
show season
profiles.
Yeah, righty.
It's that network. That's that network I'm talking about. Where just kind of putting yourself out there.
Yep. Yeah, so networking is good. I think for me, I'll just like wrap it up in a bow. It's what I tell people anyway. Like one thing that you said is like that Jason said to you is like, if you're that passionate about it, it'll work out for you, right? So I think that's like really what it boils down. If like that's genuinely what you're into and you're doing it, whether you're trying to get a job in an industry or you're just doing it because you enjoy it, like if you genuinely, passionately feel this in your bones and you're doing it, you'll probably find something.
You're going to land somewhere.
Because if you're passionate about it, you're probably going to be good at it.
Exactly.
And the better you are at something, the more people are going to take note. And
Exactly.
I mean, there are people, people I follow on social media, they may or may not be in the industry, but you can tell, like the ones that are passionate, they're out there doing the thing. Like I could list them off for you. I could tell you people that don't work in, they stand out. Yeah. That don't work in the industry whatsoever. But I can tell you that person could work for any outdoor, whether it's apparel or hunting company, whatever it is that you do within our space. Like they could work for a company because they genuinely have developed the skills. They've got the mindset. They know the ins and outs of it. They're good at telling a story. They're good at photography and videography. They've got a level of expertise that somebody can use to their advantage, whether it's like product development or whatever it might be. But
exactly,
I just tell people like I don't think you can want to be in the hunting industry just because you want to be in the hunting industry. Like I just want the free,
or just because you want to,
just because I want to hunt. Like
that's the other thing.
You have to do it for the right
mistake.
reasons.
this shit isn't hunting. Like we don't hunt for a living. That's the common mistake of being in the
that's
hunting
what people
industry.
think.
We do not hunt for a living. Now, granted, do we get to hunt more than if we had a typical job?
Sometimes,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. But there's a lot of responsibility as well.
A ton of
A ton.
responsibility.
Yeah, it's a job.
Yeah,
and
it's
there's
a
a lot of
business.
grinding.
It's a job. A lot of grinding. A lot of like crossing T's and dotting I's
lot of
before you
late
can
nights
actually
so we
go into the
can
field.
Stupid
Yeah.
late nights.
Yeah, a lot of weekends.
Weekends, yep. They could eat
A lot
up.
of annoyed wives and kids, because it is. It's just like it's a job.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say, do it for the right reasons. Do it for the love of hunting. Like if you love hunting, you're probably going to land because you're probably going to be good at it, and you're probably going to start killing some good animals.
If you're that passionate about it and you think about it 24/7, 365, it shows.
Yeah,
like
it
you're
shows.
thinking about it that much, you're going to be better than most.
Yeah, if
So
you've
it's gonna
developed
show.
the skills, like if you can, if you love archery so much that you're turning your own bow, you're building your own arrows, you're doing all the geeky stuff.
Yep.
It's going to shine through, and eventually you'll find a
you're
spot.
putting yourself out there, like going to events, meeting people, talking to people, showcasing your skills.
Yeah.
It's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, I just started bow hunting 5 years ago. This is actually a 2-part question. There was 2 questions that in regards to this. I'm going to double them up. But he says, I just started bow hunting 5 years ago. I still have a hard time finding somebody to hunt with. Any tips? And then a follow up to that. This guy says, is there a strategy for finding a hunting partner that is just as disciplined? So what do you think? What's strategy for finding hunting partners?
Finding a hunting partner can be very, very difficult, but it can be done. I think you just got to then put yourself out there. You could easily go to places where hunters gather. Where do hunters gather? Well, bow shop. You probably end up going and shooting a league, starting to get friends with people. All of a sudden, you could make a hunting partner friend by shooting a league, going to bow shop all the time, meeting other like-minded hunters, or going to activities that other hunters are at.
That's one thing that jumped to my mind. So we were just in Oregon for Cam's camp, lift run, shoot camp. We went to the bow rack the day before we got there and just popped in to visit. And what a cool environment. They've got, I'm sure they have league nights. They've got a full range in the back. Sign up for a league, go to your local archery shop, hang out, go to your, I don't know. They don't even have rifle hangs, do they?
Not really rifle hangs. No,
that's why
it's pretty hard to hang around
that's why
rifle shooting.
archery's superior. You get the vibe. It's a hang.
Get the vibes, yeah.
No gun nuts hanging.
Honest, that I have noticed that question come up more so in the last
Me too.
couple
Way more
of
than
years
I would have thought. I've never thought about it.
It really shines how big of an issue this is, right? Because people are.
It needs to be a dating app for hunting partners.
And people didn't. We grew up in our parents' network or our brother's network or whatever, and it just kind of grew organically throughout the last 25 plus years. We've all been doing this, right? But community is a big thing if you're looking for a hunting partner. So finding the right communities like the archery bow shops is a great one. And honestly, shameless plug here, we have an amazing community behind the paywall. If you go through the comment section on some of these units, we have connected so many hunting partners through that just entirely organically. Chris Porter actually is connected with a really good hunting friend now who lives in Colorado, and it all happened through the unit, commenting on the unit profile about the hunt and just genuinely asking back and forth and kind of that give and take of information. You feel somebody out there, and it's all about those communities, right? I am unbelievably proud of the community we've cultivated behind the paywall. It's an amazing group of people. You look through those comments, it is nothing but positivity and help and outreach and friendships that are all being created there. And that's the same as in something in, face-to-face life or the reality of life, which is the bow shops. If you are an archery hunter, it's all about finding those communities and building those networks out. And you absolutely will find a hunting partner. But it's crazy how much that question's been asked recently. It's been kind of the premier question that I've gotten over the last, 2 years, maybe year and a half. I've really noticed it.
Kind of a wild question. Not one that I put a lot of thought into because I think it's like you said, you grow up hunting.
We grew up in communities.
You've got brothers, you've got friends. You kind of know who hunts that you go to school with. Same kind of deal. So I think maybe some of these are coming from people that are later onset, adult onset
That's
hunters.
my take of it is the adult onset hunters.
Me too.
There's definitely ways. I mean, I'm just thinking back right now. I used to do a lot of back when I bow fished and traveled across the United States and did tournaments and stuff like that. I used to find people to go with randomly through what would be, our unit profile thing. You start like, obviously we didn't have that for what I was doing, but like you start seeing people commenting all the time on certain things, and you start talking to them, you start helping, you start developing a conversation and a friendship online through this thing you're passionate about. And then you reach out like, hey, I don't have anyone to go with for this thing. Are you willing to go with? And you go with and meet up, and then you start building a friendship that then you can go and hunt with people with. Like, it's the same thing I did, like I said, back in the day, trying to find people to go with these crazy adventures with. Like, you just got to put yourself out there, but it's also a level of trust too. And that's why, like, you can trust people commenting on unit profiles or commenting on articles. Like, you can see the same people helping each other out. And if you guys start to, communicate on there, it's just going to build into a hunting partner.
It is kind of like a dating app.
Kind of.
But the best part is looks don't matter on this one. Seas wide open. You just got to find the one you connect with.
If you can't find a hunting party, recruit one.
Looks don't matter. What, like a big rat? Like, we're talking,
I'm saying the
trophy photos.
Look at the you're not,
Okay.
You don't have to be attracted to them. That's what I'm saying. Helps if you are.
Unless you want to be, Brady.
Unless you want to be.
You do you, bud.
I'd look for guys who, kill some big animals. Have some good harvest photos.
Yeah, I would say recruit one. Like, if you're big into going to the gym, or you like to run, or whatever it is that you like to do, if you like to pick up basketball, I mean, whatever it is that you like to do, you got a buddy, recruit them.
Yeah.
Get them going.
Get them into hunting.
Yeah, recruit them into hunting. We need more people to come hunting anyway.
I could not agree more.
Yeah, you got a brother that doesn't hunt. Get him interested.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's a straight answer. Hopefully there's some tips and tricks for folks to find a hunting partner.
Yeah, hopefully there was something in that bullshit we just gave.
It is hard though.
It is.
And then, like, I would just say, like, generally chemistry with people. Like, you're gonna go someplace. Like, I met a lot of people. I was thinking about this. You guys were talking. So I used to go to a bunch of like local 3Ds, archery shoots. There's still people that I keep in touch with and I loosely knew them. I still keep in touch with them. There's a guy that works for Black Eagle Archery Arrows, Henry Bash. Shout out. I probably shot 5 or 6 local 3Ds. I still keep in touch with that guy from time to time. He'll reach out and we'll talk arrows and whatever it is. But, I could probably recruit him to go hunting if I wanted to. You know what I mean? Like, there's ways. You just got to put yourself in those environments, I think.
For sure.
Yeah. Cool. You ready for the next one?
Yep.
Okay. When you first started hunting, if you could have done one thing differently, what would it be?
First started hunting. Well, this is multiple. I can think of right away.
Off the top of your head, what do you want to say?
Better gear.
Okay.
Better gear. I can think of that right away. Like,
what specifically?
Just more so learning how to use my gear. Because I have this photo I've shared a couple of times before. I had this like old like JanSport or something like that, external frame backpack my dad gave me. I had like a sleeping bag hanging down below it, bouncing on my ass the whole time I was hiking in. Didn't know what I was doing. But like, yeah, sure, it's like you didn't know what I was doing, so I didn't know what I was missing too. But like, you like learning more about the pursuit before I go out and make a bunch of random mistakes in a way.
Dude, you spend your money wisely?
Spend my money wisely, because I have wasted so much coin and cash back in the day on things I thought I needed or things that I didn't research at all. I was like, oh yeah, I need a sleeve for my Camelback hydration thing, and like, why?
You need a shooter sleeve.
Yeah.
That's what my kid. I don't know how many of those I got laying around the house.
Really? It's like all need the little shooter sleeves that can make you a better 3-point shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Every kid has to have a shooter sleeve.
Yeah,
they might be 9-year-old and absolutely suck, but if they got a shooter sleeve, they're in the game.
They look sweet.
Yeah, like buying gear is not going to make you successful, but learning, I think, more so about gear is gonna, I think, would have made me more successful back in the day than not spending money in stupid places that I spent them on.
That's a good one. What do you got?
I would have spent more time on behavior of animals instead of thinking that I could, instead of just going. I would have taken that side of it more seriously, because the amount of time I've spent in the field just thinking that I could like work my way through it, you know what I mean? Instead of like being in tune with animal behaviors, I would have been way more successful if I would have just focused on and been more in tune with the animal behaviors instead of just like, yeah, full send, let's go,
That was good.
And taking that more seriously.
Yeah.
I like that answer a lot.
I would, 2-part, I would say be more patient, which is hard to do, because I don't think you're just like given patience. You have to learn patience.
You got to learn it.
You got to have some heartaches before you like learn patience. So I remember like a pretty good mid 180 inch buck that I was 35 yards from for 2 hours. just in the baking sun. You know, it was like some low country, and I thought, oh, I've seen this trick where you can throw a rock over the top of them.
And they stand
up and they look the other way and you just arrow them, right? And I threw a rock over it and he blew out of his bed. Never saw him again. But, you know, like those kinds of things, just like patience, you know, persistence. Yep. There's definitely hunting situations where I would have done a lot better if I'd developed or had more patience in the moment. That's just experience. I don't know if you get that other than just like learning and going through some heartache. The other thing I would say is like, I would have begged, stole, borrowed, done whatever I had to do to start building points earlier and applying.
That's a good one.
So you really only get opportunities to go hunting. I mean, there's OTC stuff, which is good. It's a good filler if you can. But, you know, if you can build points here and there for various species that you're interested in, I would say definitely deer, elk, and antelope. Yeah. Kind of the bread and butter. Build points for those in the states that offer them: Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, Utah, you know, Arizona, New Mexico. Apply in New Mexico.
Yeah, and to piggyback on that, don't just build in points at states that your friends say it's really cool to build points in. Build other states as well. Like
build all of them.
All of them. That's my regret.
Except for California, Washington, and Oregon.
Yeah.
Other than that, go for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't disagree.
No, yes, but even those. I mean, if you come up with the money, there's probably a permit I could have put in my pocket to go hunting up there. So like, you can't go hunting if you don't have a tag, and you can't have a tag if you don't start early and start planning and prepping. So I would say that was one thing I would change.
Contrary to popular belief, it is not too late to start.
No,
like it is still a plenty good time to start.
Mm-hmm. Great time. Yeah, there's no reason at all that you can't go hunting every single year.
No,
probably have more permits than you can hunt, days off that you can hunt.
Correct.
So you just gotta be do some research. Yeah. That word, just be aware of it, I guess, you know, and put the money.
Frustrates me when people talk. I wish I would have had points 5 years ago. It's just too late to start now. Like, where did that come from? It is not too late to start. It's a great time to start. You just got to do it the right way.
Yeah, look how many times we turn and burn points.
Exactly.
And still pick up permits.
And still pick up tags.
Yep. So that's one thing I would do differently.
Good call.
Brady, this next one's for you. A real banger.
Okay.
We're going to make you internet famous again.
Oh, I love. No, I don't love that.
Why doesn't Brady like 7 mags or 7 PRCs?
Oh, boy.
Because you can't kill anything more dead than dead.
Why don't you, Brady?
How'd I do with your saying?
That was pretty good. That's pretty good.
Do you want to elaborate on the reel that we put out that got so much love?
Trail actually apologized. Like, I didn't know that was going to get blown up.
I had no idea that people were so passionate about.
Here's my thing. Who gives a shit? Everyone's passionate about what they're. Who cares?
Exactly.
This is what Brady's passionate about. Who gives a shit?
It is. It's like, why use something smaller than you need to use? Yeah. But in regards to,
I was going to insert a joke. Keep going.
Insert joke.
Yes.
Keep going.
No, I don't really have any beef on anything you use as long as you use the right weapon for the job. Like a 7 PRC, 7mm, sure, it can work great. Like
I use a 7 mag and I hunt with Brady.
Yeah, again, it's like people always try to like steer me down, try to get me going on something to like see if I'll say a different answer than theirs. But most people, I will agree with a lot of these gun discussions out there. Like I have the similar thoughts. If you use the right cartridge, if you use the right bullet, if shot placement, yes, is everything. But again, I always say hunting isn't sunshine and roses, and you don't know how an animal is going to react all the time. Like an animal could take a step. There could be a limb in the way you didn't see. You can smack that. Like, is the bullet going to go through it? Like, I don't know. Why leave things up for chance? I think people took that other discussion out of context, obviously, because it's an Instagram reel. It's not the whole discussion. But like, there's a lot of things that do matter. But why leave small little things, a margin of error up for chance? Yes, a 7 mag is going to kill everything in North America. 7 PRC is going to kill everything in North America. It's going to be great.
But you don't like them.
I would rather still shoot something bigger, because those times when I don't make a perfect shot are the times when I'm going to be thankful that I have something bigger. Okay, yes, you can kill things with smaller bullets. And yes, I fully understand it's the bullet construction, all this stuff that the internet tried to roast me on about that 6.5 Creedmoor thing. I understand all that. I've researched it all. I understand why some people might shoot something smaller because of the recoil. All right, I understand people don't have the time like to shoot constantly, to sit behind a bigger gun. I understand all that. But to me, I'm going to shoot something bigger because I only get a week to hunt on some of these things, and it could be a dream hunt. So why would I want to leave something up to chance?
I respect the passion of the internet. I love that they came out the way they did.
Yeah, I do too. There's a lot of good valid points.
And your points are extremely valid as well. Like it's just funny to watch it all unfold.
It's the whole like Chevy, Ford, Toyota discussion.
Yeah.
Like no one is wrong in this
Toyota.
situation.
That's all day long. You want to get into this? Let's go.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong about any.
Keep moving, but
I think your points are extremely valid. I do. I really do. Like if you are that comfortable with a big gun, that's awesome. And it definitely has its pros. Like it has its pros over smaller guns. Yeah. You can't argue that.
And there definitely is. Like someone said, "Oh, why don't you just use a 50 BMG, Brady?" Like, yeah, there's a point of diminishing return.
Yes.
Like I'm not just going to go out there and take a like we were out there shooting tanks and stuff like that one time at the battleground thing we did.
That was awesome.
That was awesome. But I don't need a fully auto 50 cal.
I do.
You might. So it's like I understand there's a point of diminishing returns, but it's like
dude, there's just pros and cons about all of it.
Yeah.
There is pros of a bigger caliber over a smaller caliber.
And people can say till the end of time, shot placement is everything. I get that.
But there's also pros of smaller caliber over a bigger caliber and the recoil.
There is. There's all this stuff. But if the internet keeps saying shot placement, everything is bolt construction, everything. Okay, well, I want to know where you're hunting, where that animal is standing in there at 250 yards broadside, no wind, and I can take that shot all the time. Where are you hunting that I can do that?
I mean,
where are these big animals?
Argument is, if that's your shot, then if that is your boundary, then great. High five.
Yeah. High five.
Make that your boundary.
Exactly.
You're just saying that's not your boundary.
It's not my boundary. I don't hunt where it's completely calm, where I know I'll hit that perfectly every single time. Yes, there's variables, and I'm saying I very much respect animals and don't take shots I'm not supposed to take. But there's times when, I'm glad I had something bigger. Like when I shot my ram in Tajikistan, like 30 mile an hour winds, 10 below, wherever it was, at almost 16,000 feet. Like that's a very expensive hunt. Like I am still broke because of it, but I am glad I brought a 300 rum in those conditions to be able to buck the wind and knock it down and make the best shot of my life. Like I have not released a kill shot yet because I don't really release kill photos all the time on the internet, but it is right behind the shoulder. I built that weapon specifically for that hunt. It's like, yeah, sure. Someone could say I could have killed it with 7 PRC. I could have killed it with 6.5 Creedmoor in that wind, but why risk it? I knew what it's going to do in the wind, be able to buck it, still hit the animal, and still knock it down on a very expensive animal. But even if it was a doe, I would still have the same care about it. But like, shoot a weapon that you're comfortable, make the best shot possible, use the bullet that's going to work with it. And I don't care what you shoot as long as you're happy and you're out hunting and you're having fun.
This is what I love about passion. It's like, dude, people show up.
Your
passion's coming through right now. The internet's passion showed up. I love it. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is you don't dislike them. You're just saying shoot what you're comfortable with, and you're comfortable with the larger.
I'm comfortable with larger, yeah. And if you're comfortable with the 6.5, you're comfortable with the anything. Like shoot it, but shoot it a lot so you understand how the weapon works. Understand how it goes in the wind. Understand what happens. If an animal takes a step and you hit it in the shoulder. I'm not saying like purposely do something, but understand there's going to be pros and cons to everything. There's cons to me shooting my gun. I mean, mine's 14.5 pounds. Like there's a big con right there. I'm willing to sacrifice that because I know how well it shoots in all other conditions.
Because it's what you're confident in.
Because I'm confident in it.
Shoot what you're confident in.
Yeah.
Even if it's a 7 PRC.
I'm a 7 PRC. This is a great round. I know a lot of people will shoot them. I shoot them great. My dad keeps telling me to get one. He's the guy who's 30 cal king. Like he's only never owned 30 cals. He's like, Brady, you should probably get a 7 PRC. It'd be kind of fun to shoot. I'm like, maybe it would. But I'm like, what would I do with it? What do I do with it? It would just sit in my gun case because I'd rather shoot a 300.
Let me ask you a question. Do you ever feel like you're like marrying yourself to this 30 cal?
Yeah.
Like what if next year you want to use a 7? Then what? You gonna feel worried about it?
Well, here's the thing. The internet doesn't realize this yet. Lorenzo does. What did I shoot my non-typical cactus buck with in Mexico?
A wrist rocket.
You shot it with a 7
mag.
Yeah.
7 mag.
Yep. Shot it with 7 mag.
I've used something under 30 cal.
You heard it here first.
It was an awesome buck too. It was a phenomenal shot as well.
Yeah.
It was a very stressful situation.
Yeah. But it's like, it goes to show it's not just a gun. It's not just a shooting experience. It's like a combination of everything. Like I said, just having all your tools are sharp and you can make the best shot possible. Would I've loved to have something maybe bigger? No, sure. But like I knew what that gun was capable of doing. I knew what the bullet's capable of doing. And if you see on the footage, I hope we got it. Like, look what I shot through to put the bullet where it was. Everything.
Shot through everything.
I shot through literally everything. Yeah. And I couldn't have put the bullet any more perfect on that non-typical cactus buck.
Heard it here first. He did kill it with a 7.
So
I mean,
internet, be prepared to roast me.
Who cares? You should be able to change your mind if you feel
Whenever.
like it. Whenever you want.
There's
Who-
pros and
who
cons
gives
to it
a
all,
shit?
but this is what I love about passion.
Shoot what you're confident
I
you
genuinely
practice
love
with.
it. People show up when they are passionate about something.
Yeah.
I love it.
And I love the comments out there too, by the way, of the people like, oh, I can never trust anything Brady's opinion because he always changes his stuff all the time. And look at now he bought a suppressor and now he owns a 6.5 Creedmoor. And it's like, yeah, because I got stuff I want to train for and practice with. It's like I can buy certain things and train for them. It's like I'm still going to hunt with 30 cals. Still probably won't hunt with the suppressor, but I own them. I own them to test them.
It's
like
also a really funny thing too when people say that, because isn't it the word becomes more trustworthy now because you have used everything.
And that's
like, if you are able to expand if you're not married to a thought and you are able to expand and like actually use something and figure it out. Well, now you know exactly how to compare it to
you know which one
what you were married to.
Which you do,
And then,
you know what you do like.
And then one last thought on that, like the whole comparison thing and being more well-rounded. It's like I used to shoot 215 Burger hybrids, like out of my 300 Win Mag. Like awesome. I get, they're a match bullet. It's not a hunting bullet. I got made fun a little bit for that, but then I kept getting a lot of questions though about, hey Brady, do you have any experience with copper? Like I've never shot copper bullets. So I was like, how can I just use one thing always? And like the bullet side, I should probably try to do copper. That way I'm more well-rounded and have an opinion on it.
Yeah.
And now for the last, 3 years, I've shot everything with the copper bullet and it hammers.
Yeah.
I was like, I would have never known that unless I tried it. Now I can try it. Now I have both opinions to help people out. Like, oh, here's pros of copper. Here's pros of lead. Like now I'm a more well-rounded and experienced, rifle hunter.
Yeah.
Just because I'm trying something.
So shoot a 7 if you like it.
Shoot it.
Brady says it's okay.
It's okay. I did.
Okay, moving on.
We better move on.
You better move on.
Hopefully we can get another Instagram reel out of that one.
This is another one for you. So tips for Muzzy practice when flying from the Midwest. Practicing at 1,000 foot to hunt to 5 to 10,000 feet. So anything somebody would do different from a muzzleloader hunt? They're coming out west.
The biggest thing, and it's something you can prepare for using ballistics charts on the internet and plugging things in there like, oh, what's your elevation at where you're at? How's that going to change when you go out west? You can print out different dope charts, but the easiest thing is honestly going to get a rangefinder that is capable of calculating all those environmental conditions for you. Like I don't ever have to worry where I'm sighting in here and going somewhere else because the rangefinder is going to do all the work for me and recalculate my dope. So like, shameless plug, SIG 8K rangefinder. Like I can whatever my dope is set up for here at my elevation here in Vegas. Well, let's use Tajikistan again as an example. I flew to Tajikistan, which is we sighted our rifles at 14,000 feet over there. I instantly went from Vegas to Minnesota and shot both places. My dope was always on because the rangefinder is going to recalculate everything. And then flying from Minnesota to Tajikistan, I was one of the only people there, me and my dad, because we had the rangefinders that automatically calculate everything. The dope at 400 yards was perfect. Like I couldn't put the bullet any more perfect at 400 yards at 14,000 feet. And we had just got done shooting at like 2,000 feet of elevation in Minnesota because that rangefinder is going to recalculate everything for me to make it so I can make those further shots when I travel. So like you're going to have to spend money to obviously get a rangefinder that has capabilities to adjust for environmental conditions. But once you have that, you don't have to worry about like, I need to make a dope chart for Minnesota or whatever he's from in the Midwest. And then when he goes out west to, let's say, a state like Colorado, and he wants to hunt above 10,000 feet, that rangefinder is going to make all those adjustments for you. And your dope will be different because that bullet's going to be, there's less, it's flatter, basically. It's going to shoot flatter. So the dope's going to change, but just trust the dope and verify it. So when he travels out west, if he has one of those rangefinders, I usually go to trailhead or go to different trail we're not going to hunting and take a shot. Like take a shot with that dope, practice for a little bit to make
That's
sure it's
assuming
golden.
the muzzleloader is equipped, right, with that kind of.
You can still, a muzzleloader, you can totally like get the bullet length, get everything, get the feet per second, enter it in these rangefinders in the app, and you can still use it like you would a rifle.
It'll tell you how much you drop.
It'll show you how much it drops, yeah.
Or,
so it'll recalculate it for you. So you can do all that practice ahead of time with the rangefinder, feel it all out, and then once you go west, I highly suggest people to go somewhere different where they're going to be hunting, and obviously make sure it's safe, but take some practice shots to see if that dope matches up. And 99.9% of the time, you have these right tools, it will it'll match everything. So that'd be my suggestion to do it, to make it easier on yourself.
How much difference do you think there would be? You set in a muzzleloader 100 yards, 1,000 foot, and then you go to 10,000 foot.
Good enough.
How
Enough
much?
to matter.
Enough to matter for sure.
2 inches?
Well, you got to remember.
Inch?
You got to remember too, though, that muzzleloader, your effective range is only going to 200
yards.
So in like that case, could you still hit the animal? Probably, but again, like that, like I always say, like why leave that up to chance? Like you're going all the way out there. Look how that gas you're spending. Look at all the airlines. How many years it take you to draw the tag? Spending money on a different rangefinder is going to be a big investment, but
depends on what you got on the muzzleloader too, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, like it's really a lot of that stuff for like a rifle. It doesn't really matter till you get out to a certain distance. So muzzleloader is going to be a little bit more or a little bit. You're still going to be in that same realm, but like it's going to your bullet's dropping so fast that it's going to be different. You might have to utilize different marks on your whatever system you have. If you have a turret or if you have a dope chart, you might want to build a different dope chart for it. So it's just something to keep in mind. I would suggest getting a rangefinder that can calculate for me. There's a lot of rangefinders out there that can do that.
Yeah,
they can calculate all your environmentals, but like obviously.
I just say shoot it. If you can show up a few days, find a spot, shoot that thing.
You can instantly redial
just
it.
See what it does. See what it looks like. If you got to
agree.
redial it, depends on the site you're shooting to. But off the top of my head, I couldn't think of anything other than just like you got to check it when you get there. Get there early and shoot it. I mean, I had a tough experience in Colorado a couple of years ago. Went on a hunt. Showed up. I mean, sight my bow in at home. I go up and I'm hot. I'm running way hot. It's because the air's thinner at 10,500 feet, and I'm like 2 to 3 inches depending on the yardage. So I had to make some adjustments. I know some guys will like turn their limbs out, take a few pounds off to make some adjustments. But my answer was like I'm just going to resight my pins in.
Yeah.
Because I had to. I didn't feel confident going out with the way it was set up. So I mean, I don't know how you get around that other than just like verifying when you get there.
You have to verify.
See how it reacts in the situation you're in.
All right, next one, best budget thumb button release. So I'll take this one. If you guys got any insight, you can jump in. But thumb button releases are handheld archery release. They're not cheap. A lot of them are several $100. Yeah. I would say, and I've been doing a lot of writing for you. One of the
you are. I had you write this article for me.
One of the reasons why I think maybe people are interested in shooting a thumb button release. One is that they see a lot of people on the the lines at major archery competitions. They see a lot of bow hunters, influencers, if you will, in the industry shooting handheld archery releases, and I think you're kind of seeing a transition to it. One, because I think there's like some cool factor to it. Two, I think it's a more repeatable anchor point, which I think is the primary reason somebody might consider going to thumb button over index finger release. It's just the feel. So index finger, it's hard to find an anchor point. To me, it always felt like it was floating a little bit and up and down my face, whereas with the thumb button, I can hold that thing in my hand. I can split those two knuckles on my draw line, and it just feels like it's a lot more repeatable. So that's the reason somebody might go to a thumb button release. I don't know anybody that's gone to a handheld thumb button release that's ever gone back to an index finger. Maybe there's probably some out there, I'm sure.
I was just going to say that.
Maybe Brady's thinking about it.
Yeah, I'm honestly thinking about going back.
I know.
Just because of my struggles with everything else in archery, target panic, and I shoot a rifle really, really well.
Sure.
And I do remember days when, I could shoot an index figure phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. I know some guys that bow hunt with index finger release that are, target archers that shoot with a thumb button or a hinge, and they prefer index finger. Most people I know that go to a thumb button, they kind of like it, and they like it because obviously I think it's more repeatable. Mm-hmm.
I will miss not being able to spin my release in my hand and fidget it.
Fidget with it. Yeah. So I guess to answer your question, I would say it's an investment. Like spend the money on getting a good one. Like I think the UV button's an awesome release. The Stanislavski Onyx is a great release. They got a bunch of thumb button releases. I would say those two companies. Carter makes a good release. Those are kind of like top tier, if you will. But if you're looking for a budget version, just see if you like it. Maybe look into the Spot Hog. So they have the Whippersnapper. They got a 3-finger, a 4-finger. Scott has got some cheaper releases. The Pursuit is a nice little handheld release that also has the wrist strap to go with it, if you want to kind of combo the two so you don't lose the thing. Those are about $150, somewhere in that neighborhood, which I think is kind of the the bottom end for what I would say. And the spot hog ones, I don't like the feel of the spot hog releases. They don't have a lot of features that I love. You can't really adjust the tension, the travel in those releases, but they are, relatively economical. And spot hog, if anything, is just bomb proof. They're built to last forever. So they're going to be, reliable. They'll put up with a lot of wear and tear. So I would probably say those three: Scott Pursuit, and then the Whippersnapper from Spot Hog. Anything else you guys got on that? Releases? Good, covered that one?
No, what kind of like jaw structure do you like on a thumb? I know it's going to get into the weeds, but like, because you have some that are just a hook. You have some that are fully enclosed that you can clip on there.
I don't like a hook. I like it enclosed. If you're going to shoot a thumb button release, it should be fully enclosed so that you can hang that thing from your D-loop.
Hang it. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And there's been a number of times, whether, that bull I killed in Utah, I was using a bite and blow Phelps estrus, easy estrus call. And I could hang that release from the D-loop. I could pull up my call, and then my D-loop is already set and ready to go with the release hanging on it. So I would say get one that's enclosed.
Yeah, those open hook ones, to me, it just seems like, all right, yeah, you have to have it lashed all times, and you can't do what you're talking about right now. Then in the heat of the moment, can you look down and get that on the D-loop without making much movement? And if your adrenaline's going, you're going to...
Enclosed is better.
Yeah.
With the handheld, the fully enclosed is better.
Yeah, the only time I would use one that's open is if you want to shoot a hinge. Those are open hook designs, which, that's a shortfall for a hinge. You got to hook it up immediately before you shoot. You can't hang that thing unless you want to shoot like the new, the Ibex, I believe, from Evolution.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one.
They've got a hinge that kind of will hang on your D-loop, but I haven't played with it yet. But, enclosed.
Okay.
For sure. That's what I would suggest. Okay. Who has the best tag in the office?
Christopher Porter.
Chris Porter has a great Nevada tag.
Yeah.
Oh, was I supposed to say?
Oh, it's been out there.
I know. Yeah. I'm just being me.
Yeah,
I appreciate though you're starting to change.
Take a tag. That would be
it.
Yeah, one, right? That would be it. Chris Porter, and I think we're all interested to see what happens with that.
Yeah.
As far as the elk tag goes, probably you. Trail.
Yeah, which is an okay tag. I don't know.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, maybe you guys.
Maybe
6s. We'll see.
Yeah, probably 6s between my.
Yeah, I drew a decent tag. Burned a fair number of points on it.
Probably 6s.
Yeah, a decade's worth anyway.
But if you're just going overall best tag, Porter, that's
Porter for sure.
It's a one of a kind tag.
And then of the three of us, I would say I'm the most envious of your Orcs tag.
Yeah, drew that. That's cool.
I'm pretty pumped about that for you.
It's awesome.
Just a different animal. Cool. It was fun having those guys here last week and looking at him. It's
a wild looking animal.
He had his horns.
Maybe did you get to see Calvin's?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's big.
Yeah.
It's
when I read this question, I was actually thinking, I'm not even sure if Brady has a tag this year. Do you have tags?
Oh, ouch. I've been on a heater lately. So
you've been burning heaters lately or on a heater lately?
On a heater lately.
For drawing tags?
No, that's like 3 years or whatever. I've burned a lot of points, a lot of crazy.
So are we
hunts.
having a down year?
No, we're not having a down year per se.
Were you trying to keep this under wraps?
No, I've definitely toned her back a little bit. And I kind of, Porter gave me relationship advice and told me I need to go all out. But I'm like, well, really enjoy spending time with my girlfriend. So I was going to
not go hunting this year.
No, I'm not saying I'm not hunting, but I'm toning it back a little bit.
Whoa.
Toning it back a little bit. But also,
do you know what I'm shocked at? I'm shocked at the fact that I asked you the question, do you have permits this year? And one of the first thoughts you went to was, I like spending time with my girlfriend.
Yeah, I got,
I'm shocked. I feel shocked.
But here's the thing. I'll say that, but then let me describe my tags. I do still have a pile of tags.
I mean, you can describe whatever you want, but your head went straight to it.
You still said it.
I did.
Good for you.
I did. I have... What do I have right now? I have 2 mule deer tags. So I got, both of them. I'm hoping to, be really good muzzleloader hunts. 2 of those. I was max point holder.
Muzzy.
Right
on.
Yep. 2 different states. I've also elected, like I said, to use my points wise. I could have probably drawn some other permits, but I decided not to this year. Also, I got unlucky too. It's not like I just didn't apply for anything because what I said earlier, but
you guys are going to keep making fun
of me about it. So I have 2 mule deer tags. I was a max point holder for a U bighorn tag in a certain state.
There we go.
So I finally decided to burn them. I've always been hesitant on if we should hunt them or not because I kind of feel like we shouldn't, but the state's going to allow it. I'm going to go do it. There's reasons that they want to, lower the numbers.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? I don't get it. I mean, they're allocating a permit.
I know they're allocating a permit. So it's like,
somebody's going to harvest you.
but you feel the
Why
same.
not?
Do you feel the same way about mule deer doe tags?
Do I feel the way about me? What I feel?
You say they're allocating a permit, so you should go for it when the numbers aren't the great. So you feel like we should be hunting mule deer does then?
I would, yeah. I would hunt it. Because here's the thing. If they're allocating doe tags, my assumption is that there needs to be a female harvested, right? Now, I know that that's a hot button take right now for mule deer in the state of wherever. Utah will say it.
Yeah.
Everywhere. It's the state of
Utah.
everywhere.
So, but, I mean, if they're allocating mule deer doe tags, my assumption is that the Division of Wildlife, who we've entrusted to manage wildlife. Now, people can get up in arms about this on whether or not they're doing a good or a poor job. My opinion is they're doing the best job they possibly can. I would hunt one if that was up and if it. I don't apply for. I apply for cow elk tags because I'd rather eat elk.
Yeah,
for sure.
I don't really want to eat a doe mule deer if I'm honest. So I probably wouldn't apply for it to hunt it to kill it, but I wouldn't have any issues with it.
Yeah, so I know
Personally.
No. I just got some friends who are
Giving you a hard time about it?
against the U thing. Not giving me a hard time, but I know
mean,
they voiced it before about it, and I thought the same way because it is.
That's an interesting question. I'm processing as I'm talking.
Yeah,
There are some units here in Nevada, though, that the two options are we can either transplant them, and that's going to take another state or another place to actually accept him and want to take it on.
and then you look at
project
the stress it puts on that animal. Are they going to survive?
like-
Are we going to lose some because of it?
Yeah, and
disease transmission.
And there are some units in Nevada that we do need to cut the herd down a little bit if we're not going to use that herd's population for a transplant. So, it is.
That's what I would say. So in regards to mule deers, I'm thinking about it. I would like to see those does transplanted if possible.
Yeah.
I would prefer that over harvesting them.
for sure.
But if they are going to harvest them, I don't have any issues with people harvesting,
Yeah.
filling those permits.
If another state wants them, we
Yep.
should try and figure out
If
every way
you can.
possible before we
Exactly.
start shooting them.
So yes, I have that. Decided to burn my max points. Also drew a cow elk tag late season, late season, which I love. Good freezer
late?
filling.
So late season, it's early.
Yeah, so I'm really excited for that one because I always love I love a cow elk hunt. They're so fun. And then my brother drew one of the best elk tags in the West. So I kind of also catered my applications around that. So it wasn't all because of my girlfriend trail.
That's
Nice.
where
It
it
was-
started, though.
Nice
It did start there.
That's where it started.
Nice.
It
save.
did start there. But and since yes, and
Blow that
since
one up. Blow that one up, dude.
he drew one of the best elk tags in the West with a rifle, so I'm going to go on that hunt, and we're going. I leaked it earlier in the podcast that I'm going to be seeing some big bulls again. We're going to be in some big bulls.
So helping your
Bullshit
brother,
king.
couple mule deer
Yeah,
muzzy tags, you sheep tag, and a
sheep
cow elk tag.
potentially maybe a Carmen Mountain whitetail hunt
That's good. Good
as
season.
well, like in addition. So like I do have a lot of tags.
Gotcha.
But like I don't know, being cautious. I've always said before, I carry a lot of elk
Being
points.
cautious for your girlfriend. We gave you some advice on this.
You did.
Yikes.
Okay.
All right.
there we go.
You ready for the next
So we're
one?
ready for the next one. Better get off this
Okay.
one.
Best week of September to hunt rutting bulls. I'm going to add to this one. Best week of September to kill a big bull.
Best week of September to kill a big bull.
Labor
Day week.
Well, that's two questions. So best week of September to hunt rutting bulls. Go.
Rutting bulls? Mm-hmm. The week of the 20 plus number to 27, 28, 29.
Oh, you're going end of the month.
I'm going like mid, a little bit past mid.
Like 18th, 19th, or the 20th? Would you push it all the way to 20th? 20th to 27th?
I would start like 20th through 27th.
Gotcha. Interesting. That's a hot take.
Yeah. You kind of have me second guessing
I
myself
don't-
here
I
because
don't-
you're the elk
I
king.
don't think. I mean,
But
here's the
when
thing.
when you look at the solstice and you look at all that stuff
So
going,
the solstice is the 22nd.
Yeah.
Full moon's the 18th.
correct. So this year I would hold off post full moon and then hunt it closer to the solstice, and then those 5 days after.
Yep.
That would be my take for this year.
Good take. That's an interesting one. Typically, I would say 15th through the 22nd, 23rd, somewhere in that neighborhood. It's kind of where I would put it. I'd probably still stick with that. It does get a little weird with the full moon. I think they still rut. You'll still hear rutting bulls.
Of course. That's like
if the problem is if it coincides with like a hot streak like we've had, like the year I had my elk tag. I mean,
that'll make it a lot tougher.
It'll make it tougher because they got to conserve, energy. And if it's 95 degrees in the middle of the day, they're not going to be out rutting as much as they're going to rut more at night. I think that has more to do with conserving heat than it does with the actual full moon and being able to see.
You really had me second guessing myself there.
No, you had me second guessing myself as I said.
I feel like this year year specifically, like the 20th or even 21st through the 28th, something like that.
There's a lot of years. I mean, I know, where I'm from, we've got that muzzleloader hunt that's like the last week of September, first week of October, and then you've got the early rifle hunt, which is typically like the 20th or like maybe like the 16th, 17th to like the 22nd, somewhere in that neighborhood. There's a lot of years where that muzzleloader hunt's the best rut hunt. Like where they're really,
it has been in the past.
There has been a number of years where they're really ripping.
Yep.
I still think like if I were picking, I would probably still pick the 15th through the 22nd, 23rd. Somewhere in that neighborhood.
No days post solstice, huh?
That's tough.
That is a tough one.
That's a tough one. You might be right. There's a good chance that it might be the best part of the rut. Might be the last week of September.
Yeah.
But you also,
interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
But you also said, what's the best time then to kill a big bull in September?
I think the best time to kill a big bull is the first week of September.
So Labor Day weekend is the best time to kill a big bull, and it's been proven anecdotally. And on all of the hunts I've hunted with people and hunted myself, that if you were looking to kill a big bull, that is like I don't know what it is about the Labor Day weekend, but it's awesome.
Mm-hmm. I think it's because those bulls haven't necessarily. I think it's hard to kill a really big bull when he's moved in with a herd of cows and calves because
he's not coming to calls.
He's hard
picking through 70 cows.
Hard to call. He's got a ton of cows and calves. He's got satellite bulls, and he generally doesn't want This is my opinion. I might get some hate over it. They're typically not looking for a big fight in a lot of cases. A lot of cases they're like, hey, I'm just going to take my cows and kind of move off. I haven't had a ton of luck. That's just me calling in really big bulls. So yeah, I think that first week of September, they're still not quite herded up and they're a little bit more patternable. I think it's a little easier to kill them on a wallow. It's easier to kill them maybe spot and stock. And it might be even easier, to be honest, to call a bull in with a cow call.
So my wife's big bull, the biggest one she's killed, biggest bull I've been on, especially with archery. It's all three of those things. We called them in halfway. So he told us he was there, right? Little locator call. We knew something was on the hillside. So we weren't blowing up the hillside, right? So we weren't just going up. We knew someone was there. We were patient, letting him come down and see what it was. He goes, lays on the wallow, big bull. So we start watching him in the wallow. It's like, okay, this is a giant bull. Let him get off the wallow, go off by himself. Then it turned into spot and stock because he was all by himself. We ended up killing him at 38 yards.
Spot and stock.
Yeah, spot and stock. But it was all three, right?
You got all three.
We called, he called. So, okay, there's an elk there. Let's not go blow up that hillside and just go hiking, right? And that weekend, you can do all of those things at once, right? Yeah. They're going to tell you they're there. They're going to give you a little bit of a location, a little heads up, in a wallow by themselves, then feed by themselves, spawn stock, turns into a really good time to kill a big bull.
Yeah, and ideally you'll have wanted to have seen that bull or known about the bull. I mean, you guys didn't.
But we saw him.
Right.
And that's if you're trying to kill a big bull, you got to look at what you're.
Yeah.
And we had 5 minutes of him rolling in a wallow for me to have my binos, and I mean, he's all palmated, and it took me a while to put together what he actually was. He's palmated, looking through a bunch of shit. But then when he stood up and walked away, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's a bull we should shoot.
That's a shooter.
Good.
I got nothing to add. Just want to toss that in there.
One of the questions was how many elk tags does Brady have this week? I skipped it, but not this week, but this year.
Ted?
Do you have any? One? You have a cow elk tag?
Elk, and then my brother.
Right on.
Technically, in a way, I guess you can say it.
Big elk guy.
Big elk guy.
Okay, next question. What's a good rule of thumb on spending calories for different days in the backcountry? And I would add to this, do you guys track calories? Do you know how many calories you pack per day?
Yes.
And how many you think you burn?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So which one do you want to tackle first?
So there's everything starts on a baseline, right? Because if you don't have a baseline, how do you know like how much more or less, or right? So I would say if you've never done a resting metabolic rate test and you've never like, because here's the thing, like all these wearables, right? Like I wear a Whoop, I wear a Garmin, I wear Polar heart rate strap. I've worn them all, done them all. They all have their own algorithm of height weight ratio to heart rate zones and how much calories are you burning. But that has no science on like if doing a true RMR test, which is taking your body composition scan. So how much lean muscle mass do you have as opposed to fat, as opposed to, you know, bone density, all this stuff, because all of that is going to be a variable in how many calories you are technically burning, right? Not everybody needs to go do a RMR test by any means. I'm not saying that, but that is like, we'll give you the straight up foundation. A really good way to start it is, what is your current weight times 12? And that would be your like basal metabolic rate calories, especially for somebody who's fairly active. And fairly meaning like you go to the gym a little bit. I'm not saying you have to be a psycho about the gym and be dripping sweat every day, but if you're just a little bit active.
I'm fairly active.
Yeah, you would be more than body weight times 12.
Fairly active.
So, and then so you extrapolate off of that, right? So body weight times 12 is kind of like a base.
Okay.
If you're going to be active, I would do more like body weight times 15.
Okay.
If you're going to be really active, I would do like body weight times 20. If you're doing a backcountry hunt and you are like really going after it, I would even do like I know what I've done RMR tests, I've done all that stuff, so I know what mine is. Like I said, if you haven't done that, I would do your body weight times like 25 even. It would be your calories for the backcountry. And then while you're there, that's not saying you have to eat all of that every day, because some days are more so than others, right? So it's always that titration of how many calories to how much you've expended for the day. Obviously, being in the backcountry, you were expending a massive amount of calories more so than your day-to-day life. Because think about not sitting in a chair, not sleeping the best, right? Not like no downtime, because even when you are sitting down, you're glassing, you're moving, you're doing something, you're having to filter water, you're having to clean water, set up tents, all this. You're being very just kind of like organically active, and that's without even the hiking and chasing down an animal. So that calorie expenditure is kind of, it's a personal thing. How hard do you think you're going to go, right? So in the backcountry, for me, I bring as close to 5,000 calories as possible, and that's still not enough.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot, but it's still not enough.
Gotcha.
There are some days where I won't burn near 5,000, but on the days that we pack in, the days we're on animals all day, there are days I'll be well over 5,000, and there'll be days that I'm like well under. So my RMR is 2950. That's my resting metabolic rate, is 2950. So like every movement I do over,
so that'd be a minimum that you'd have to replace just to
like absolute minimum.
And
yeah.
Well, what's the crazy thing though? This is why I would love this test for backcountry hunters, because we're not even taking into account like on these Whoop straps, and I have both a Whoop and a Garmin. Like I know what all my calories I burn every single day is. It doesn't take into account the backpack you're carrying around the entire day on top of it.
That's just an algorithm on height and weight.
Yeah, so that's all that is. But that's why I mean though, like I would love to be able to go do a test somewhere.
Yeah.
Where I literally throw 80 pounds on my back at a whatever angle I'm going to be replicating it, and let's say the angle goes up and down, and I do it for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Or I do it all day.
If I can do that. I mean,
just do a test all day.
Yeah, I mean, you could test that.
Like how many calories do I actually burn, and then throw in some temperature on top of that. Maybe it's really hot part of it. Maybe it's really cold the next part of it, so you're burning more calories. Like,
should I go do that? You got my mind turning.
It really would be cool to film it all, to document everything on how much a backcountry hunter actually burns. Because I don't think many of us actually know.
No, and that's what I'm saying.
And that's what when you're saying like, times by 25 could be close. Like, yeah, it sounds smart to me. What I'm thinking right now, like, it can say I burn 5,500 calories, but that's not counting anything else I'm doing. Like that's like sitting there mentally focused on glassing. Like you're burning calories doing that
for sure.
And you're talking about filtering water,
burning calories in the heat, burning calories.
Hiking with the backpack,
like putting your boots on. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying I'm out of breath by any means, but it's a lot harder to put boots on in the backcountry than it is at my house when I sit down on a chair.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like just those little things that add up all throughout the day of your hunt. And that's, it takes time to figure out. Like, I mean, shit, it's taken me, I mean, I've really just got it super figured out by this last year, and I've been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
But I would say those are really good starting points.
And I say one of the biggest things that you asked, do I track all the calories? And the answer is definitely yes. Like, I know everything to a T. Is utilize an app. Like, there's apps out there that can help you track this. You can probably do it in an Excel sheet if you really want to as well, and then calculate it for you. But I use MyFitnessPal. Like, there's a free version and a paid version. I did the paid version because I do track my macros when I am heavy weightlifting, trying to gain weight, which I've been slacking on lately. But I can literally have a thing I'm looking at right now, my meals, recipes, and foods. In there, it's saved. It's labeled backcountry food. I have every single thing, and I can just like take a picture of it. I can take a picture of the Pro Bar meal, or I can take a picture of my green belly. I can take a picture of the bagels I use, the salami, the cheese, like all that stuff is going to throw in there, all the calories, the carbs, proteins, and fats. And it's going to add all up for me. So I can know what that baseline is so that I know, like, on a hunt, maybe I'm not feeling really well. Well, maybe the next hunt, I'm going to add a little more carbs, maybe a little more protein. I can start to manipulate that up and down how I feel in the hunt and track it. I can have backcountry food for, you know, spring hunt, a fall hunt, and just see which one then I'm feeling the performance the best based on this data. That's why I think you should carry the data and not just, oh, I'm going to throw random shit in my backpack and just, I'll be good. Yeah. Like, why? Why won't you want to feel your best when you're out there by knowing what food you're putting in your body so you can get that proper fuel?
That's what I finally came to the conclusion of, is like, I do all this shit throughout the year. And then when I was going into the back,
you said that,
you know, it's like, why? That's when I need to be
at
my best.
Yeah, you're saying, oh, that was my fun time. I just throw whatever in there, go to the gas station, eat shit food.
Everyone, and I'm not an outlier here, we can all crush some carbs. Carbs are fun to eat. Like, really fun. Boy, I feel like shit if I eat too much carbs. I feel lazy, lethargic. I will lay in the sun and like a brown bear rolling around in that sunlight, just loving it, right? That's not how I want to feel when I'm back there, though. But I like a certain amount to actually, you know, feel ready or feel energized. But I don't want to get to the point where I'm lethargic and lazy. I could crush some carbs back there. And that's what I did do.
And the thing that's opened my eyes too, being able to track everything, is like, everyone hears me talk about it all the time, how food is fuel, not fun. Like, I've always said it. Fun. That's my quote.
It's plenty fun.
But like, I don't even consume sugar outside. You know, I don't consume sugar on a daily basis. Like, sugar is the enemy. I don't believe in sugar at all. Never have sugar in anything. I believe everything is too sugared.
What about natural sugar?
Yeah, like that's fine. Okay. I'm talking about added sugar. Okay, I should have mentioned that. But like, then I go and enter everything in MyFitnessPal, and I start looking at all this fucking added sugar I'm eating all the time because all these bars have added sugar. Yeah. Everything you eat on a backcountry that's catered to backcountry has added sugar. So I'm trying now.
You know how hard it is to make those cardboard things taste good? Yeah. It's really difficult.
Like, I would rather
add some shit in there.
I would rather have it be cardboard, honestly, if I got the right things.
There are some that are more cardboard than others. Like, green belly meals they're the best ones I've found for that.
But it's like you're saying, like, you do all this work all year, and then you throw random shit in there and then eat like shit in the backcountry. Like, I've realized, like, even though I do all this work all year and I track it, I'm like, well, everything I do consume is added sugar in it. Like, I don't consume that normally. Like, do I really need added sugar in the mountain? Just trying to figure the thing out. Sure, I do need sugar for some things, but it's like, I can now play with my data.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. And honestly, there is a very valid trail or a Cam Hanes style of this too, which is just like, fuck it, if I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat what I want to eat. And
I mean, that was gonna be my advice, is just like, eat when you're hungry. Listen to your body. Like, it
is a valid takeaway.
I would say common sense is your best friend in the backcountry. Common sense. So you got a big push, you're gonna have to have something to fuel it. So eat something. Yeah. You kill an animal, you're gonna spend, especially in elk, you're probably gonna spend 3 hours breaking that thing down, which will absolutely crush you. Eat some calories. The first thing I do if I kill an animal, before I do anything, is I eat. Eat and drink. And
titrate your calories on a lazy day. Carry some over to the next day just in case you do kill that day and you're breaking one down and packing it out. It's like having that little wherewithal about it. That is a valid takeaway. But if you do want to be scientific about it, there is ways to start. Just to wrap this one up, but it
sounds insane to say, but like, I have been on hunts where people did not eat and did not drink, and just absolutely get roasted, torched, and
they think they can make up for it later, but they just keep compounding.
You get behind the 8 ball in the backcountry, you're
especially
toast.
With water. You have to stay hydrated for sure. I feel that more than anything. So, drink, stay hydrated.
Yeah. Well, in recovery too is going to be mostly predicated on the calories that you ate. So if you're not eating enough, you're not going to be recovering. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's when That's why I say if you get behind the 8 ball, it can be really bad. So if this question is somebody going into the backcountry for the first time, I would try to be as scientific as possible because you don't know what to expect for yourself yet. So I would say like, how much elevation are you getting into? What's your packing looking like? Like how far is that? How active are you going to be throughout the day? Are you bivvy style hunting? You're going home to a base camp every night? And that should dictate like the body weight times 12 as your base. I would say like the body weight times 20 is probably a good starting point, up to if you're bivvy style hunting, you might want to go, body weight times 30. See where you land. But then it gets into weight though too. Like that's why
you get into the individual person. How much do they
cut off as
and
close
do they want
to
to shave a few lbs?
Yeah, maybe they do.
I mean, I do.
I cut off as close to 5,000 as possible, so my food weight isn't just insane. Because if you're going back to the 12 days times
a lot of weight,
so hard,
it's so much weight.
Yeah, weight is also a consideration.
Hey, if I come home 15 pounds lighter,
it's great.
I want to know that I'm not going to get crushed and behind the 8 ball.
Yeah. Kind of piggybacking on that, we can do this one real quick. But Brady, do you have any good stoveless meal ideas for backcountry hunt?
Yes.
So give us like 2.
I mean, I would just right off the start, shameless plug, check out this article I wrote, whatever it was back in the day. Like it was like the stoveless food method, stoveless backcountry food method 2.0. Like I did 2 different versions of it, and it's kind of refining the process through it. But the 2 I really loved for that stoveless method, because stoveless method is awesome, especially for an early season hunt when you don't need, that comfort food. I don't believe in that word. I hate that word. Like a comfort meal in the evening. Like, I need a warm meal in the evening. Like you don't really need a warm meal. Like
now I'm going to come after you on the internet.
Yeah, you probably will.
It's not fun to know.
Roast me, Lorenzo, on your own personal, your burner account.
Nothing better than a solid comfort meal, cheap meal. It's the best.
Yeah. But like the 2 favorite things I did when I rocked the stoveless is green belly bars. I actually really enjoy those. The banana chocolate ones, by far my favorite. Please don't go and buy them all out before I can buy them. Now that I mentioned the chocolate banana ones, so I probably should go get some. That was a really good flavor. I don't feel like it tastes like dirt. Doesn't taste like cardboard. It actually has a lot of good calories that you need. So that was a good staple for me when I was doing the stoveless. And then also that protein mass gainer protein shake concoction I make. It has a bunch of different good things in it. It's not just mass gainer. It's got oats in it. It's got whatever it is, chia seeds, whatever you say it, chia seeds, whatever they are, I don't know, and cinnamon, a bunch of other good stuff in there, and obviously mass gainer, good protein, so like a lot of good calories. And the only downside of that
like
system,
mass gainer powder. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, like literally, it's like
mix it with water.
It's like 2,000 calories or something like that, and just the mass gainer, the amount of scoops I put in.
Yep. And
I have that dry every single day, and that's all vacuum sealed. But the only downside about doing that setup is you do want to be camped near somewhere where there's water. Like everyone knows when you have a protein shake and you go to the gym and you forget that protein shake in your truck and it sits there all the next day and you open it up, it's the worst smell ever. So you do have to. So you're gonna have to bring a protein shaker, like a large one, into the backcountry, and you're gonna have to clean that every single day. And so like if you're gonna go stoveless, obviously you want to try to save water, but that's why you're saving water and you're saving weight, but you're gonna need water for that, and you're gonna need the water then to clean.
My go-to is green belly bars.
Green belly bars.
Yeah, that's
and protein powder.
Macadamia nuts.
Okay.
Phenomenal. Macadamia nuts, or you can do like F-bomb. That's basically like
Do you know I think F-bomb went out of business?
Really?
Yeah, I had a guy hit me up the other day. And he's like, I can't find these anywhere. He's like,
what?
I don't think they exist anymore.
I think I was the only one that kept them in business.
Do you want to fact check that?
Fact check
Omar?
F-bomb.
Anyway, we can come back to it, but yeah, I heard they're maybe not around anymore.
But even just raw macadamia nuts, because that's all F-bomb really was. It was all like ground up into a paste, basically like a toothpaste style thing. But like macadamia nuts are phenomenal, and actually, again, you just call me a plain person, but I think macadamia nuts that are just plain, nothing on them, taste really, really good.
Gotcha. So there's 3.
Yeah, there's good options for it, and then you got all the other bars. But consider bars are going to have a lot of added sugar to it, so just watch out for that.
Most bars.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Do you? Here's a good one for you. Do any of the staff do you guys do any type of journaling while you hunt, either on an iPhone or physical journal? You do that? That was an interesting question.
I don't.
I don't really either.
If I'm hunting without a cameraman, I'll take a lot of pictures. Like take pictures of my watch for documenting time, and if we do find an animal, like I'll take a picture of my watch and a picture of the. Like
you'll drop a waypoint,
Digiscope or whatever, drop a waypoint, just so I can follow it in my camera roll, so to speak. But no, I don't write, or I don't.
I think Brady does.
Type it
I
out.
do.
Yeah. Does.
I mean, that goes into what we talked about earlier. How I like stay up at night. I used to carry a writing and learning journal because that's what I did for science. science work and write and rain pen. That way I can just jot down random notes. You can get those really small ones too. They're actually really nice and tiny. You can write things down there. So I used to do that a lot back in the day. Now with phones having the note feature in there, I do utilize the notes a lot. Because a lot of times I can write random thoughts in there, or I can speak to text, which is honestly really great. Obviously, you don't want to speak too loud when you're in the backcountry, but like I can literally.
You don't feel like a weirdo? I would.
I do.
Yeah, I never thought of that, Trail. Thanks.
Talk to text in public. I'm always like, oh, I am such.
I did that yesterday. I would feel completely alien, especially if I was alone. Like I did that hunt in New Mexico by myself, 10 days, never saw a soul. I can't remember if I actually even spoke a word. It just feels
which is awesome.
It just feels weird.
I actually did speak to text yesterday on my run. I thought of this idea and I wanted to remember it. So as I was running, went in the notes and did speak to text and then spoke into it. Obviously, it's going to jack it up a little bit. It doesn't really get it perfectly.
Got that runner's high idea, huh?
Nice. I think you should. I think there's never really ever that much time to think like you get in the backcountry. You get those afternoons. You get those long glassing sessions. There's a lot of ideas and thoughts and.
Because I definitely wish I was better at it. I used to be really, really good. But like I'm just saying, take a lot of pictures, then you can remember things later. But like I just pulled it up. This is from my moose hunt this year. Like this is all my notes. Like I'm still scrolling. Like every single day I wrote down notes about what I saw every single day, where we went to, how many bulls we see, how many cows did we see, what was the distance, how many bear run-ins. Like that way I can remember things later on in life. And I wanted to, eventually maybe transcribe this into actually something I can pass on to family members or whatever, like all the crazy shit I've done.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Just like it's a time of my life I enjoyed. So I figure like it's not that much difficulty to every single night when you get back to write a little bit of something down. Like I write on a normal basis, so I guess it comes natural to me, but it's cool to look back on.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, here's a fun one. Can you guys view my pins on GOHUNT maps? Most of them suck anyways.
No. We're really shitty at marketing, but we built ours where your pins is your IP. All of the stuff that it's your intellectual property. So no, we cannot mine deep enough to the level of your pins. Those are yours.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, I'm not saying, but I'm just saying, not all companies are the same with that. And we'll just leave it at that. But if you, we suck at marketing because we've talked about this before, and we're hunters first and foremost, and we understand that those pins is that's your IP, that's your hard work, that's what you found, that should be yours and no one else's.
Yeah.
And it's also in the terms of service, and I know no one reads that. So I'll just put it out here in an easy format. No, we cannot see them.
Yeah, and that was always my biggest thing too when we decided we're going to do maps. So I was very bullish about no one should be able to ever see that.
No.
And I was one of the, obviously everyone knows they call me like the FBI agent or whatever. I wear my hood in the podcast and all that stuff. Like I'm very secretive of everything I do.
No,
never me.
Never.
And that's why I was like one of the last people to switch over from a handheld GPS to a phone, because I was so concerned that people would steal my data. And I have, I used fake names, fake email addresses for things back in the day, try to hide stuff.
Yeah.
And I've said it publicly before. Like I honestly do hope if there is a company out there, whether it's in the hunting industry, non-hunting industry, that someone actually takes their hard-earned waypoints and data and looks at that to an individual level and then kind of steals that information. I hope that company folds up. I will do if that got out there, I would do everything I can to help make that a possibility.
Calling for a couple companies to fold up.
I like that. Like that. It's like stealing your bank account information. It honestly is.
There's benefits to it. There's benefits.
It's like that's like, it's wrong in so many different ways. I could go on all the examples why it's your own data, it's your own stuff. It's like
I agree.
That's yours, and some company is going to look at go under the hood and look at all your shit. And fuck that.
Yeah. Like
they should literally lose their business, lose everything, go bankrupt, all that shit. Today.
How do you really feel?
I mean, there's quite a few companies that are in that world that'll be
your points are safe.
Yeah.
And nobody looks at them.
I love how they had to put in there that mine suck
anyway. No, it was like just a squeak in, like, hey, don't look at mine. They suck.
They suck.
New pieces of gear. New favorite piece of gear for 2024.
For me?
Yeah.
Black Rock hoodie.
Oh, you like that? Right on. Which is a GOHUNT Black Rock hoodie.
Yeah.
Ours, you can buy it online right now in the GOHUNT gear shop.
Thing.
Yep. Grid fleece hoodie, thumb holes, nice mid-layer piece. B-mails, any Any big hitters? Any items that you love?
Fuck. Put me on the spot.
I'll give you a second to think.
Okay.
So I don't really notice this about myself until Neville usually points it out, because every time we would do a gear list, he'd be like, this is the same shit, different year, like you use the same stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's true. I do use a lot of the same stuff. As I was thinking it through, really the only thing that I've been playing with this last spring is like a new Kafaru backpack. So Kafaru we brought in the gear shop, new carbon fiber arc frame, new bags. I'm really liking them a lot. So I would say for me, that's probably my new favorite. It's probably really one of the only things I guess I'm going to change that's like significant. But to me, that pack seems like it fits and it rides really well.
And I've said this before about myself. I get taken advantage of on like the cool factor, not so much like the use factor. You know, I like cool shit, and
Sure.
it looks awesome.
It does look good.
So it's really good to hear that it actually uses as well as it looks, because it looks badass.
Yeah.
I love the look of it.
What?
Omar?
I was gonna help out Brady. Maybe those boots.
Brady. Oh, you need Omar to help you on your favorite piece of gear?
No, he doesn't need help.
Brady, what boots you got?
No,
Whoa.
I'll say my first one first. Omar's now throwing me up because, like, yeah, those boots are great.
Yeah.
I wear them hiking. I haven't worn them on a hunt yet, so I can't say they're going to be awesome. I know they will be.
What are they?
I can't pronounce the last part of it. It's the new Hanwogs.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, the tall ones. What are they, Omar? Look it up.
Calefactors.
Calefactor, something like that.
Yeah, look at that. That name is brutal to say.
Yeah, it is tough to say. German made.
Yeah, but those boots are, like Omar's point, like they're really comfortable. Like it's a boot that would be designed for me. It's like
Right
great
on.
flex.
Calyx 4s.
Calyx 4s, and it's a leather boot, which everyone knows I
You love
leather because I love that old school factor. I love being able to condition my boots up, and it feels like it moves with me really, really well. So I am going to be using that boot going into the fall. I've only had some random hikes right now with it, testing it out. But my 2024 big piece of gear, I mean, I don't think a lot of people know this yet, but I've been using Stone Glacier. I'm not using Sitka right now. And I will say, I even messaged the guys over at Stone Glacier, and I was like, guys, like those de Havilland light pants, like where have those been my whole life?
You like them?
Like them a lot. Like I like the contour waist thing. I can kind of feel a little bit, but I do appreciate being able to adjust it on the fly. As you know, even me, I don't like losing weight because I don't have any weight to lose, but I can adjust it as I need to. And then I love a pant that has full freaking hip bends all the way down.
That's the main reason I dislike that pant. But
I
that's
love
just
it.
me.
I love being able to dump it.
One of the main
Dump
reasons.
that heat.
Yeah, I don't like the way that pant fits. It's just a personal thing. And that's the different strokes for different folks, right? And then
Fits me great.
I don't like the vent all the way down to my calf.
either.
It just,
Well, you don't have to use it. You don't have to vent it.
Well, the problem, it's not that. The problem is I don't like the way it folds on my knee. It just feels cumbersome. It's like heavy on the side. I just don't like the feel. But overall, I mean, I get it. There's people that love them, people that, I should say I don't dislike them. They're just not my favorite.
Yeah.
So I've been
most of it's fit.
Yeah. So I've been really enjoying a lot of the other Stone Glacier pieces as well. But like recently I put that one on, I was like, dang, I've been missing out on this forever.
I do love their merino. There's a lot to love. I love the Grumman down jacket.
Coming down. Yep.
Yeah. And they make a great backpack. But
Some of their synthetic pieces.
yeah, for sure. Man, we have a bunch of questions. Well, let's do some quick hitters. We'll just run through them real quick. Got it?
Okay.
Real quick. Try my best.
Yeah. 65 or 80 millimeter spotting scope for a once in a lifetime mountain goat hunt.
80.
Yep. Go big.
Why?
More light.
Just quick. More light?
Yep.
More light. Better digoscope. Better able to judge it. You have
Once
a
in a
hunt of
lifetime,
lifetime.
it's not even a question.
Yeah. You can add more weight to your back easily.
Right. Once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
That's kind of
the easy
the
answer.
trigger, right? And
All the best. You want all the best. Once in a lifetime, all the best you can get your hands on.
Yep. Swaro ATC worth it, or just save up and buy the ATX 96 millimeter? Those are like opposite ends of the spectrum.
Complete opposite ends of the spectrum. Is the ATC worth it? Yes, absolutely, no question about it.
For
But
backpack hunter.
what's your use case?
Yeah.
So like, if you're hunting the desert and glassing for hours and long ways, go with the big dog. You know. But if you're a backpack hunter, the ATC is phenomenal.
Yep.
Yeah, I would say split the difference and get a 65 millimeter ATX, and
There you go.
you can backpack hunt
You can
with
do
it.
both.
You can do some you know,
You can do both.
it's not going to collect the amount of light that your 96 or your bigger, your 80s are going to, but it's going to kind of split the middle. So if you can't decide one or the other, and your use case is both, you're backpack hunter and you're also doing some just stuff, do a 65.
Yeah, good answers.
Split the difference. Okay. Brady, what are you looking for in an October mountain mule deer spot? What are a few things that you're looking for?
Remember, these are quick hitters.
I know,
Brady.
quick hitters. I'm going to say you can kill a deer anywhere, but I'm going to look for the steepest, nastiest country possible and get up there and try to find some remote, hidden vantage points where I might be able to glass in some steep and nasty country. And you're looking for burns.
You're looking for less pressure, right?
Less pressure. That's just my hunting style.
Yep.
But some burns, steep, nasty. Further I go in, the better, because I like that. I chase that experience, and I do feel like there's big bucks that just die of old age that live in some of these hellholes of the West.
I would just say, less pressure doesn't always mean as far away from a road as possible.
Just not. Nope.
Sometimes less pressure is right off the road, because that's the nastiest shit that no one wants to deal with.
Yep.
Look forward to country that nobody looks at because it's so close they overlook it.
Exactly.
Yep, those little barriers of entry.
Any kind of environmental factors that you can think of? Slope aspect, vegetation, October.
I love looking at east and west facings a lot.
Okay.
So I just try to find an area that allows me to have multiple options. I don't just want one certain thing. I don't mind glassing into the sun because that's sometimes how you have to pick up those shadows. So having an area where you can glass multiple aspects on the mountain is going to be key, not just pigeonholing yourself to one certain face. Because then you might be like, oh, there's no animals there. Well, it might be right below you, but you're not ever glassing that face because you have to hike all the way around. Be able to hike all around and be mobile and look at different things, move your glassing points throughout the whole day. You can look at vegetation, but a lot of times those deer are just going to be kind of your browser, so they feed on a lot of different things. So.
Yeah, they can be top to bottom. They can be in the sagebrush flats. They can be in rollers. They can be at the top of the mountain in October and everywhere in between. The thing that jumped out to me is what am I looking for in October? I'm looking for glassing points first and foremost. Yep. That's your bread and butter. So
it is.
Find your glassing points that you can look over a variety of
terrain. And I always say start high and then go down. That's the easier way to me is because you have you're most energized at the beginning of the hunt to go the furthest and deepest or highest point or whatever off the side of the road, but then figure out what elevation bands these deer are at during October and then work your way down and get in the money zone.
Okay. Best way to analyze long-term low chance opportunities that are high demand, like goat and sheep hunts. So how do you guys approach, let's say somebody has a dream. They want to hunt mountain goat. They want to hunt sheep. They want to hunt Shiras moose. They want to hunt bison. How do you approach it? Gosh, I'm going to give you my answer. I'll give you my answer, you guys, if you want to add anything else on the tail end of it. So my approach to that is if you're me and you've been applying for 14 years, 15 years, let's say, right? Or if you're somebody that's just getting started and you're applying for those species, currently the state is you're probably not going to draw them, whether you're just starting or you're me. So for me, if one of those species is kind of on my bucket list, I really want to hunt one of them. One, I would probably save my money and try to do a Dall sheep hunt, even those are getting more expensive though. It's probably the most guaranteed economical way to go sheep hunting. Go hunt Aoudad. They're even better and cheaper.
Yep, I'll agree.
But then I would say play the games of random. So states that have random draws. So Idaho, you got to pick your species. So consequently, you've got better odds of drawing a sheep or a moose or a mountain goat tag. So play those odds. Random draw. You might as well apply. New Mexico, same thing. The states that have random draws for those species. Even in Arizona, if you're buying points to apply for elk and deer, you might as well throw you in your application because there are random permits allocated. So anytime there's a random permit allocated for those species, I think it's worth it just for the cost of the application fee and just hope you draw, knowing full well the likelihood of you drawing in your lifetime is slim to none.
Yeah, I would agree. 100%.
Yeah, I would. So I was waiting for you guys to go. I was going to say, look, the random only was what is there. But then mountain goat hunts in Canada
mountain goat hunt,
very cheap.
Yeah.
Well,
cheaper.
Let me walk that back. Comparative to sheep and all that stuff up north that everyone talks about, or moose or bear or any of that stuff, mountain goat is the bottom of the totem pole, and you can save up for a very good mountain goat hunt in Canada, and that's always been my plan.
BC,
BC,
good tip.
Pick the states that you want to apply in, but make sure it's financially worth your time.
I'm killing a mountain goat with a bow at some point in my life, and going to BC.
Like look at the money you could spend, buying a preference point in whatever state it is, where you could save that money and, like you're saying, go north.
Yep.
Like, yeah, it's gonna be expensive, but at least you're gonna guarantee yourself a hunt at some point. Where down here in some of these draws for those big three, you might not ever get it.
Like we look at mountain goat as such a once in a lifetime thing down here. There's hunts up in Canada that are cheaper than an outfitted elk hunt down here.
You can move to Alaska and become a resident, do it over the counter.
That too.
Yeah, that's the sacrifice you can make, and just do it.
And moose and grizzly.
Yeah, kill them all.
You can just go up there and cut a wide swath.
Yeah.
Okay. This is kind of on the back end of that because you're talking like once in a lifetime trophy species. The best advice going into your first once in a lifetime tag, managing pressure, etc. I've had a mountain goat tag. I've been moose hunting in Alaska, which is a DIY, but I would say that for me was a once in a lifetime hunt. You've hunted sheep a couple times, which I would think most people would suggest are a once in a lifetime style hunt. Brady, mountain goat, you've hunted moose, Polo, I guess, Marco Polo. Those are once in a lifetime style hunts. Is there anything that you can offer people in terms of managing expectations, pressure? What do you got?
No expectation. If you
That's hard.
I know it is, but if you draw a once in a lifetime tag, that tag does not dictate the animal that's on the mountain waiting for you.
Does not.
It's the opportunity that you have. I don't know what tag or specifically the once in a lifetime is that they're talking about there, but it because you have that tag, it does not mean there's an animal on the mountain for you. So just let go of all expectation and just enjoy it for what it is, which traditionally any tag like that is going to be way less pressured, way more opportunity. You're going to be seeing way more animals, all of that stuff, right? So just take it for what it's worth. That the once in a lifetime tag is the adventure and the opportunity. It has nothing to do with the animal that's out there for you.
Good tip. Brady, what do you got?
My biggest thing when dealing with some of these once in a lifetime things is literally dedicating your life around it. Like literally making it worth your time every single day you wake up to do something.
Do something for that hunt.
Do something for the hunt to make yourself better, whether it's running more, lifting more, shooting your weapon more, reading more books about that animal. Do everything you can. Sacrifice other places. Don't go fishing. Don't do, obviously have fun. But like make a few sacrifices here and there so that you can fully enjoy that. So you're not fully, you're not nervous all the time. Like,
so you're never held back by
held back. Yeah. You did everything possible to make it the way it's supposed to be, and the hunt will work out the way you want it to because you've prepared so much for it. Like this is your Super Bowl.
That is a good one.
Yeah, and I would say just try to be mindful. We talked about journaling earlier. I think journaling's great. I think take a ton of photos to capture it. If you can take some video, I think that's awesome too, just to remember that because it is once in a lifetime. You're not going to draw it again. The other thing that popped into my mind is, I don't know. I would clear your schedule, like you're saying. I would cut as much time as you possibly can out for that. The year that I went on a moose hunt, I drew the mountain goat hunt the same year. I had an elk tag. I was just full tilt for a month and a half. Looking back on it, if I had to do over it again, I kind of wished I'd set aside that once in a lifetime tag for a different year in my home state of Utah. I wished I'd have kind of parked it off on a year where maybe I didn't have 3 or 4 hunts, kind of leading up to it. I wished I'd have created its own little space and time so that I could have put more effort into scouting. I should have gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it'd been awesome.
I went off. Yeah, I was going off of intel, which it was good intel and it worked out great. But I felt like I got robbed of that full experience of taking a summer week and going up into that high country and spending days at 13,000 foot and looking at goats.
That's what watching them all the time. Down their habits.
Speaking to of the tag is the opportunity of stuff
the tag's the opportunity for adventure. Right. I agree. Yeah, and just try to stay mindful. Appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully there was something in that. I got a couple more. We'll cruise through them. I wanted to get to this one because hopefully I can help this guy. So he says, no luck for us in the Wyoming-Colorado second draw. What would be the next opportunity to draw or to get a tag?
I would say take it.
Yeah, I would say your next best opportunities is probably Colorado OTC. So elk, I'm talking. I still think it's the best guaranteed over-the-counter opportunity, whether you're talking archery elk or second or third rifle season. Now, this is kind of it for non-residents this year, 2024. And then after that, you'll have to draw. But I would say I would look at that. That would be my advice.
You want to push them to some of the Northwest states that offer over-the-counter, even though it's further away, that this person could be flying no matter what?
I would rather go hunt. I would rather go hunt in Colorado where there's a herd of 300 303,000 animals, record high for elk this year. Then go chase rosies on the coast.
Yeah, I agree.
That would be my advice. I don't know. I get sick of people talking about like over the counter. It's so crowded. There's too many people. I'm like, yeah, I get it. There's a lot of people, but there's also a shit ton of elk.
A shit ton of elk.
And if you want to separate yourself, you want to find opportunities, you can. Are you going to get screwed up by somebody? Probably. But is it better than
not hunting at all
on your couch?
Yeah,
infinitely. You know what I mean? So I would say that's your next best opportunity. Anything else? Anything pop up? No? Good. Okay. I got a couple more, and then we're getting kind of long. Okay, I want to get to this one. So expandable broadheads. What are the best ones to use? What are the pros and cons of an expandable? What do you think? Any thoughts?
So I'm not very equipped to talk about this because I've never shot an animal with an expandable. I am moving to one this year with doing a ton of research and shooting my bow, and I'm going with the Sever 1.75s.
Okay. Gotcha.
I feel like everything I've read, listened to a lot of people that I trust that are archery hunters that have used them. I feel like my personal decision was that was the best decision for my setup and bow.
So when I read the question, that was where my mind went. I don't like expandable broadheads where the blades fold back on themselves to deploy. So you're robbing some energy. In my opinion, it feels like there is more that could go wrong with that broadhead. I like rear deploying, so the Severs. Trying to think what else is out there. There's a few other that are essentially the blade is located in the ferrule. I think the tripan, right? Rage tripan, similar. They basically is pushing that blade back as it goes through the animal. I prefer those of the two. I don't like fold back broadheads. Cons. So cons, I hear a lot that the mechanical didn't open. I don't know how. To me, it seems like massive user error, in my opinion, if that blade doesn't open. It should open if it's set up correctly. I know like some of the Grim Reaper heads have like individual grooves at the collar that feeds onto the head. The blade has to fold back into one of those grooves. Otherwise, if it hits, it won't fold back, right? That's just user error. Like if you didn't set that thing up right, there's a potential that it'll fail, that it won't open up. But otherwise, if you set up the broadhead the way it's intended to be used, you read the instructions, it should open. I can't see a reason that they wouldn't. I can't necessarily think of any cons. I mean, I don't think a mechanical, we talked about it before, but I don't think a mechanical is probably the best choice for somebody shooting low poundage. Not a ton of energy, low mass weight. I think those individuals should be shooting a cut-on contact broadhead just to push that broadhead through. But I think if you're shooting a decent amount of kinetic energy, there's no reason not to consider one.
Do you think there's a lot of hesitation towards mechanicals? Because back in the day, in their introduction, you had people say like, oh, they blade open in flight, missed an animal because of it. Like I think people still stuck like it's going to happen. It's not something I want to risk. So I don't want to use a mechanical because that blade potentially could open up in flight.
That's a potential. Yeah, that's a con. Yeah.
I think today's construction of these broadheads, though, they're probably a lot better than they were 15 years ago when they people were using them.
I mean, take for example the Sever that we use. It's got a silicone band that goes around the blades that holds those blades in the ferrule. For me, I tell people I stack two of them. So I put two silicone bands in place of one, and it just secures the blades a little bit more. But if that leading wing, if I hit a branch or something like that, it's going to probably open up and dump that arrow into the dirt, right? Yeah. Would I pound a fixed blade head through it? Maybe.
Yeah, who knows? No.
I don't know. My plan is just to pick a window and not hit any vegetation if I can help it. I have seen, I don't know though, I saw Neville shoot a bull where he clipped a branch and it punched right through.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's hard to say, but yeah, that is a potential con. Yeah, maybe. You got to kind of know the limitations of your equipment and pick and choose your moments, you know?
It's the same thing we're talking about when it comes to rifles earlier.
There you go. You like a big bullet and push on through. maybe I should shoot a fixed blade so I can run on through the branch.
Yeah, that was some of the people's comments.
Yeah.
They're like, you guys talked about that, but then you talked about expandables, and you really were for expandables,
Sure.
so it didn't.
Yeah, kind of counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Yeah. My opinion, if you're hitting a branch with a fixed blade or a mechanical, it's deflecting.
Yeah.
If you hit a blade, if you hit not just the arrow, if
Yeah.
you hit
A fletcher.
A
limb,
vein,
You're-
you're
I
pretty
mean,
well deflecting.
it's not good.
Yeah, not a
Much
good,
better for a bullet to hit something than an arrow to hit something.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
They're different
It's just
things.
not good all the way around.
Yeah,
if
not-
you're
not-
hitting
not
something
good. Not
on any
ideal.
part of your arrow.
Yeah, that's an interesting take. I'm still convinced that they're a superior head.
Yeah.
Just my opinion.
There we go.
Mostly just because I think they're more accurate.
And they're
I'm
producing
hoping
better.
I think they're more
that's-
forgiving, and I think the blood trails. Are
Yeah, I was
better.
going to say they're going to produce a,
That's
bigger blood
mostly
trail.
it for me. All right, last question, and then we'll wrap up because what are we, 2 hours?
Close to.
Close to. All right. Yeah, it times out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can keep pointing.
You can keep pointing over.
Okay.
Max time. That buzzer didn't go off. I didn't get the buzzer. Okay, when is Brady Trail and Lorenzo going to go on a hunt together? We're going to wrap up with this question.
We should do that.
that's a dang good question.
Why haven't we done that?
Why haven't we?
The reason I picked this question is I thought this is a no freaking
We've
brainer.
never hunted together.
Why didn't we?
We've
Why
all- I
haven't
don't
we?
know.
Yeah, we've all hunted with each other on a
Separately.
separate basis, but
Yeah.
never all three at the same time.
Who asked this question? This is
I
a
don't
brilliant
know.
question.
I don't know who asked it. I should have the taglines. I apologize.
Yeah, we could do
We're,
that.
Yeah.
I'm going to make this happen now. We have not hunted together.
No.
So the question is, why haven't we? And when we do, what will it be?
Elk.
What are we going to do? We have to have a species that everybody will agree upon. Brady, do you want to go elk hunting?
Why did you just jump to elk right away?
Aoudad?
That's what I
Aw,
wondered.
daddies.
I
You
wondered if
could
it,
rifle. We could bow.
I wondered if it wouldn't be Aoudad. That's where my head
Yeah.
went.
Axis deer.
Axis. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Or you can rifle hunt, bow hunt.
That's a real good one.
I like that one.
Alligators.
That's a good
That
one.
would be fun.
Come on,
I
guys.
like that one.
That would be a lot of fun.
Keep
I don't know.
Keep me going.
I'm seeing
I was
a
thinking-
3-week hiatus right here, just one apiece.
Yeah.
Axis
Each get their
Gators, Axis Gators, and Aoudad.
Oh,
That's a
sounds,
It
t-shirt.
might have to be Aoudad.
oh, they're so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really should.
And then I
Whitetail?
thought
I think it'd be a good day.
whitetail would be fun.
Yeah,
And then I thought about Alaska, like maybe a caribou hunt,
caribou, high country.
maybe a blacktail hunt.
Blacktail,
Sick of
early.
blacktail would be fun.
It would be a fun dynamic.
We should do it.
We should
All
do
of
it.
us.
This is a great question.
Whoever asked this question, I appreciate
you
it.
for that.
Yeah, thank you for the
We
question.
could live
'cause-
podcast.
I
while
honestly
back
have
there.
never. I didn't really ever think about
Nor
that.
have I.
Like
but
the podcast,
Yeah.
The Boys. We
Yeah,
have not
good.
hunted together.
we could
The boys be
podcast.
hunting instead
The
of the
boys
boys.
be hunting.
And we could podcast about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
There's
thank
no.
you.
There's
Thank
no
you.
good reason why we haven't.
No,
That's
there's
the
not.
answer to that.
So there's a few more, but we covered the bulk of like the ones I thought we could or should answer. And I apologize if we didn't get to yours. Thank you for all the questions. Hopefully
Yeah.
you guys got something out of it. It was a fun discussion.
And
And
you can always reach out.
yeah,
for
reach
questions.
out too. Yeah. I
Yeah.
will say if you reach out to me, if you don't hear back within like a week, don't freak out.
Same.
It might take me a week, but
Yeah.
I get back to folks generally. So
Yeah.
appreciate all the input and Godspeed.
Godspeed.